예, 안녕하세요. 저는 오늘
Good afternoon,
사회를 맡은
everyone.
김종훈이라고
I am the
합니다.
MC, Im Jongeun.
오늘 바쁘신 중에도 자리에
Thank you very much for your
함께 해주셔서 너무나
participation
감사
by
말씀을
attending your
드리고요.
time despite your busy schedule.
오늘 2022년도 인천 아트
We are having
국제 교류
The Incheon Art Platform,
심포지움,
IAP, International Symposium 2022, and then we have the theme, Art Activities in the Post-Pandemic Era and the Future Direction of Local and International Networks. This program is being hosted and organized by IFAC and IAP. First of all, I'd like to invite the CEO of IFAC, Lee Jongeun, for opening remarks.
안녕하십니까.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am the CEO of IFAC, Lee Jongeun. Thank you very much for your participation by attending today's meaningful event despite your busy schedule on the weekend. So far, for the past 3 years, we have experienced unprecedented pandemic around the world, hampering a lot of the lives. We didn't have any opportunities to meet in person, and we have been restricted to travel and move into other regions and countries amid lockdown. Therefore, we have also faced a lot of the weakening conditions and the environments in the art community as well. In this regard, especially for artists, along with the pandemic, we were one of the damaged people that we have seen a lot of the challenges of the pandemic. And now I feel that, of course, as we are putting on the mask within the venue here, but it's a part of the recovery process into the full and the new normal era. So that's why we are still keeping wearing the mask at all times in the program today. We have the theme of art activities in the post-pandemic era and the future direction of local and international networks. Of course, in terms of the pre-pandemic, it's not fully possible that we can go back to the past even before the pandemic in terms of the artist activities, so requiring a lot of the transformations and changes. It is a time that we have to take the new future strategies, how we can deal with the post-pandemic era, along with the measures that we need. I do really hope that today's International Symposium will be very productive and valuable so that we can enrich our art communities along with a lot of interactions and the full communications in the full recovery phase as we do hope. Taking this opportunity, I'd like to also introduce the speakers from Japan, Hiroyuki Hattori, and from Indonesia, Helmi Hardian. We have the Dean Taolin from Vietnam, and we also have the speaker from the Thailand, Matsuburi, and we also have joined by the professors, the domestic professors, Itar, for the first presentation, as well as Professor Kim Jun-gi for the keynote speech today. Until the end of the program, we look forward to taking your continued interest and participation. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you very much, CEO, for opening remarks. Next, we'd like to invite Kim Jun-gi, a critics of arts. The theme of his presentation is art in collaboration with local community and a very big and broad picture on the art community. We'd like to welcome him with a big round of applause. Can I sit here? Okay. Nice to meet you all. I am Kim Jun-gi, the keynote speaker. The theme of my presentation will be also touched upon the main theme for today's International Symposium, which is the future direction of local and international networks. Through my presentation, I'd like to also share with you the ways and ideas how we can collaborate together, the art community and the regions, as well as the future measures.
예술은 당연히 보편적인
Indeed,
언어죠.
art is a universal language beyond the time and space. In terms of universality, the past, the present, and the future will be also or encompassed within the arts. It can also encompass the East and the West at the same time, as well as empire and colonization, as well as a global universal language. In this regard, the universal language has decisively impacted the human being's history by facilitating the development of the civilization of arts. We also need to consider the fundamental conditions and the circumstances on the universal language. But even the arts was fully expanded into a universal language, there were limitations in terms of space and space. Accordingly, as a special language, the art could be stemming from the regional characteristics for the further development. In this regard, the regional communities and the status and conditions of each local community are to be carefully considered. As you can see here, the scope of the regions will be very fluid. When it comes to the province, like the southern Gyeongsang or the northern Gyeongsang provinces across the country in Korea, we have the very specific and the clear boundaries as well for regions. When it comes to the human beings, you can see that each category of the geological boundaries, the beyond the county, districts, and the cities or the province. In this regard, the scope of regions have been stemming from the scope of the individual life for the communities as well as the individuals of human beings. Before the emergence of imperialism, the world had some forms of the civilizations, but for the last centuries, especially during the end of 20th century, not only in terms of the economy but also in culture, global boom or the globalization was developed even after the neoliberalism. Accordingly, we see that the full expansion into the globalizations as well as the globalizations to see the emergence of the global village beyond its regions and communities. In terms of the neo-nationalism and the regional blocs, since the end of 20th century, the Pax America, the status was a little weaker. The China and the Russia and the two companies in terms of hegemonies, as well as the European unions and culture and economic, the blocs have been dominant during the time. However, rather than just the regional bloc in East Asia, Russia and China are having very fierce hegemony following the status of the U.S. In this regard, in terms of the nationalism and the hegemony, we see that a lot of the different and diverse the powers in military, economy, and political paradigms as well. And a lot of people are expecting to see that more diverse circumstances and structures among the different countries in terms of the global hegemony. If you look at the term, the ASEAN indicates the east of the European continents, Northeast Asia, Southeast Asia, India, Central Asia, and the Middle East were the 5 key categories to encompass the regions of Asia. But still, these are to be further developed and specified because it's still includes unclear categories or the classifications. For the last thousands of years, the Asians, beyond the geological circumstances, the Asians are to have some more identities, as they have also done, developed so far in the past. This is not really easy to see the full integration among Asians, but on the Korean Peninsula and East Asia, I'd like to share with you some of the examples. In Northeast Asia and the Southeast Asia, the categories and the concepts were originated from the modern era. As you can see here, as the regions with the communities of the East in Asia, I'd like to also share with you some of the examples. According to a scholar, Asia is one. Asia is one. According to a scholar of Japan, that quote was delivered by cultural administration scholars and the developer who promoted the modern art education system in Japan. In Japan, they tried to promote, to develop their cultural and the political systems to be more further developed to catch up the other status of other nations. While pursuing the imperialism, the national ideologies of Japan was forged significantly with the theme and the philosophy of Asia is one about 100 years ago. Just in front of the main gate of Tokyo University of the Arts, still you can see the statue of Okakura Tenshin, who was the first dean of Tokyo University of the Arts, who actually developed the concept of Japanization, as well as publishing the book titled Book of Tea. After the war, for the 30 years in East Asia, when it comes to the 30-year the war, that can include a lot of the wars occurred in the Vietnam and the Soviet Union. About 50 years later, upon the war in Vietnam, East Asia has taken a lot of the influence. Korea, Japan, China, Taiwan, North Korea, Mongolia, and other countries in Northeast Asia are facing to have their fierce competitions in the Northeast Asia to pursue their own rights. China is focusing on their own hegemony, which is upward of the time. In this regard, a lot of the Asian countries are to be more noted as a new regional bloc of the countries. When it comes to the very large frame, Northeast Asia and Southeast Asia, for the past 50 years upon the wars of imperialism, and now they are also trying to promote their own new identities of the Asians as well as the forming the regional blocs. As mentioned before, the power of Pax America in Northeast Asia and Southeast Asia are facing some of the boundaries and the limitations. But when it comes to characteristics of the East Asia, during the Pax America and hegemonies of the U.S., we also have to consider a lot of the circumstances and the very meaningful events. In the mid-20th century, after going through imperialism, Japan has been putting a lot of the efforts for their hegemonies in East Asia and Southeast Asia, including India. A lot of the very small communities, considering the ethnic characteristics and human beings along the studies, we see that the level of the studies are very sophisticated, according to the researchers. When it comes to the cases on the Fukuoka Asia Art Museum, or the Asuko Chimari or Seto Chiriri Annale, There are a lot of the cases and examples in improving and promoting regional values, along with the cultural innovations. About 20 years ago, as we remember, about 10 or 20 years ago, a lot of the people did not really want to visit Japan, but nowadays more and more people prefer visiting or traveling around the country in Japan. In this regard, Japan, as a country which promotes the philosophy Asia is one, has been also developing the sophisticated definition and structures for regionalism as well. These are the key messages that I would like to share with you. In terms of the regionalism, I'd like to share with you some of the cases and the ways that we can encompass for the regionalism. As you can see here, there is a slogan saying "Being local, act local," which is the glocalism. And I see that this is only part of glocalism. The glocalism, if you want to sell hamburgers, you also need to put the favored and preferred ingredients by local residents. The hamburger marketing in terms of the glocalism. Of course, this is very good and delicious. Tailored marketing for putting the preferred flavors and taste recommended or preferred by the local residents. As we also have seen the case from the hamburger marketing, the local ingredients could be well included for the food and the hamburgers, and the profits and the benefits can be also going back to the community level for the global finance and economy. Everything is being interconnected. In politics, society, economy, we see that the every world and everywhere is interconnected altogether. What we need is the regional, which is the community level. Therefore, we have to focus on the regional perspectives and regionalism. That is why we are celebrating and joining together at today's International Symposium, because it requires a lot of efforts in the art community. For the last 50 years, as we see that the more emergence and development of the regionalism and the regional blocks, and Europe has formed their own regional blocks, and for the Asian, we are very good at collaborating together. The president of Indonesia is well negotiating with Europe. Nowadays, when it comes to the global phenomenon, its regional blocks are the global trends. Under these trends, the status and the reputation of art are to be more considered and discussed together, especially among the artists in Asia. We also need to consider how we can have interactions between the art and local communities. We can also have more in-depth discussions and presentations, as well as the general discussion later on. Interlocalism could be suggested based on my perspective. When it comes to the regionalism or localism, Incheon, as one of the examples, is a city to see and a strong localism like Jeju or Gwangju. They have their own identity in terms of the localism. There may be some limitations, including closeness or exclusion, because the other people may worry that those certain localism based cities could be more focusing on their own ways, encompassing closeness and exclusion. In terms of the scope of the arts and the challenges, this is the time that we have to limit such a barriers among the different regions. As for the Incheon here, whenever I come here and the Incheon city, the old city, all the downtown, or the areas including Gangwon Island or the more modernized era are very different even within the Incheon metropolitan city. So that's why we have to consider the total of the 8 different districts within the Incheon metropolitan city. It is not only limited to Incheon city, but also it's to be more considered to the national level as well in Korea. While I studied in Seoul, Daejeon, Busan, Jeju Island, and I also come back to here, Seoul. Whenever I experience my time in each different city, and whenever we encounter artists in different regions, the regional or local artist could be one of the pronouns that we call or we specify in Korea. When it comes to the order of the speakers for opening or welcoming or congratulatory remarks by some of the other programs, and the regional artist or regional author could be sometimes specified, but sometimes they don't really specify very clear city or the region's name. And whenever I am requested to sign on the documents for the payment, and I see that that was not really the fair manner for encompassing all the different artists and the international and art community. Itar, as you know, the next speaker is not the local artist, because when it comes to the scope of the region or the local community, we cannot really have just one fits for all definition for localism, considering the closeness or exclusion, and we also have to be more beneficial, and we should have be more open-minded to each other, so that we cannot only say or mention localism, but instead I'd like to suggest to mention or call that as interlocalism. Throughout the history of the human beings, a lot of the people and the nations are trying to go further under the identity or idea of interlocalism, as well as internationalism. So internationalism is to be more clearly stipulated and discussed, which is the type of the mutual nationalism, and strengthening the solidarity and the cooperations among different countries beyond the national boundaries. And we see that a lot of the people and the nations are promoting to be more representative around the world, but before just insisting there on the nation, but intercity or the intercity-based ideas or philosophies could be more important to really have the genuine and the tangible solidarity, intercity, interlocalism, and internationalism are to be more sophisticated, so that we can really think of the art and take actions in the art community, so that we can absolutely touch upon the real and the genuine meaning and implication of localism. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
네, 감사합니다. 지역에 대한
Thank you very
사유와
much.
또
A
인터로컬리즘으로
thought on the region and the
지평을 넓히고자
interlocalism,
제안을
and with these
해주셨고요.
two bases,
또 거기에
he mentioned
이어서
that we can widen the scope.
이탈 작가님 작가님께서
And next
또
speaker
기획자님께서
is
작가이자 기획자님께서
Ita.
오늘 주제 발표 첫 번째 세계의 한 코너에서
He is going to
인천
make
예술을
presentation
위한
on the
질문
questions for
이란
art in
제목으로 발표를
Incheon from a corner
해주시겠습니다.
of the world.
안녕하세요.
Hello everyone.
저는 인천 지역을 기반으로 활동하는 시각 미술가입니다.
I'm visual artist.
주로 이제
based
설치
in
작업을
Incheon.
주로 작업을
I mainly
하고
deal
있고요.
with works relevant
이제
to
가끔 지역
installation
기반
art.
전시 기획을
And
하다 보니까
occasionally
오늘
I
이렇게
also
초대가 된
plan
것
a kind
같습니다.
of exhibition.
아까
That is
서두에
why I think
이종구
I'm
대표님께서
invited to
제가
this symposium
인천 대표
today.
작가라고 말씀하셨는데 그 과찬이시고요.
He mentioned that I am a representative
김중기
artist
선생님 말
of
뜻에
Incheon.
공감합니다.
Thanks very much for
우선
your
오늘
compliment. That
제가
today,
말씀드릴
anyways,
내용은
today
이 심포지엄 주최에서 인천 예술을 위한 질문이라고 하는 주제를 저한테 주셨기 때문에
okay, the subject was
인천
given by
예술을
the
위한 질문에
symposium,
대해서
which was
제가 질문을 해야 되는
questions for art
입장인데
in Incheon.
잘못되면
Actually, I am the
좀
one who needed to
어렵고
ask
좀
this
난감한 문제에 좀
question.
봉착할 것
But
같아서
today I'm
많이 이제
here to
긴장을
answer the
하면서
question.
준비를
That's
했습니다.
why the topic itself
그래서 이제
is
오늘
not
제가 이제
easy for
이
me.
원고를
So
이렇게
I'm a bit nervous.
편하게 말씀드리는 것보다는
So
오류를 좀 하기 위해서
not
제가
to
이제 원고를 준비해서
make some errors,
있는
I have
방식으로
prepared my manuscript.
발표를
I'm going to
드리면서
read my
중간중간
manuscript,
자료를
and then I will
공유해드리겠습니다.
also show my presentation during my speech.
그리고 이제 심포지엄은 세미나하고 좀 달라서
And
한
symposium,
주제에
as far as I know,
다각도의
is different
생각을
from
좀
a seminar.
발표하는 그래서
So we
세미나보다는
can
좀
suggest
가벼운
different
마음으로
ideas and
준비를
opinions for the
했습니다만
symposium,
혹시나 이제 조금 전에 말씀하신
because it is not a kind of
김준기
academic
선생님이
seminar.
말씀하셨던 세계의 글로컬리즘이라든지
But
제가
Professor
이제 이따가
Kim Jungi mentioned
말씀드릴
about
비슷한 언어인데
globalism,
이게 잘못 오해가 되면 지금 충돌할 것 같아서 그건 따로 또 말씀을 드리도록 하겠습니다.
and okay, I cannot touch upon the topic
우리는
because
인생을
it may
살면서
cause kind of
다양한 사건
misunderstanding on
사고로
the
인해
concept.
매일매일 생경한
Okay,
경험을
now let me start my
하게 됩니다.
presentation.
저도 또한
As we go
작가로서
through
그리고
life, we experience
소시민으로
unfamiliar
살면서
experiences
이러한
every day
경험을 하게
due to
되는데요.
various incidents and accidents. I
작품
also
생활을
have this experience
시작하던
as
초기부터
an artist.
예술에 대한
From the beginning of my
저에 대한
artistic life,
생각은 동시대에 대한 것, 그다음에 역사에 대한 진지한 태도로 반응을 해야 된다고
I have believed that an
믿어왔습니다.
artist should look at and respond to the
2001년도
contemporary
5월달에
era and
있었던
history with a
좀 전에
serious
이제
attitude.
지금 보여드릴 이제 그 영상인데요.
On May
2001년 5월 29일 날 올림픽
On May
대교에
29th of
이 조형물을
2001,
설치하려다가 그
there was an
헬기가
accident.
추락하는 사고가
An
있었습니다.
army helicopter
제가 이
crashed
영상을
while
좀
installing a
보여드리고
sculpture on the top of the Olympic Bridge main tower. Let me show a video clip.
이게 지금 그 올림픽 대교에 2001년도에
This is Olympic Bridge.
또 작가 명은 말씀드리지 않겠지만 이
The
올림픽
picture
대교
taken
위에
in 2001.
88 올림픽을 기념하는 횃불 모양의 조형물을 이제 설치를 하기 위해서 시누쿠가 헬기가
At the time, at the
조형물을
request of the Seoul
앉는
Metropolitan
도중에
Government,
올림픽 대교와
to
부딪혀서
install a torture-shaped
헬기가 이제
sculpture
추락하는 그런
commemorating
사고입니다.
the
그래서 당시 아마 세 분
1988
정도가 이제
Olympics on
돌아가신
the
걸로
top
알고
of the
있는데요.
Olympic Bridge main tower. The helicopter
이
could not stop descending due to the wind and crashed
이런
into
사고를
the sculpture.
제가 이제
As far
경험을
as I know,
하면서
about 3 people died at the time
2000년도
due to
초에
the accident.
가졌던 예술의 의미와 예술가의
So,
실천에 대한
this
태도를
accident in 2001 made me ponder deeply about the public meaning of works of art and the social
기억하건대
obligations of artists.
2001년도에 벌어진 이 사고는 예술 작품의 공공적 의미와 예술가의 사회적 의무
So, what would be the
대한
social obligations of
고민을
artists?
하게 만든
What would be the public
사고였다고
meaning of
이제 생각이
works?
됩니다.
I mean the
누군가에게는
artworks.
훌륭한 예술
It would
작품이지만
have been a great
유족에겐
work of
평생
art for someone,
지워지지
but
않을 아픔이 되었을
it would
겁니다.
have been a pain
이유도 영문도
that would
모르게
never be
그
erased
순간
for the rest of their
등장하는
lives.
공공의 작품처럼 예술
There are art
작품이라는
ornaments
명분으로
that appear in
우리에게
an
무조건 감동을
instant
해야
without
하고
knowing why.
높은 자대
Should we
위에
be moved
올려진
by it
예술의
because
신화처럼
it's an artwork?
맹목적 미의식으로
Like the
준비되는
myth of
수많은
art
작품을
placed
보면서
on a high
과연 예술
pedestal,
작품과
I see
예술가는
numerous
어떤
works produced
태도를
with a
취해야
blind
되는지
sense of beauty.
고민을 하게
Then I wonder
하는
what kind of
사고였다고
artistic
생각이
practice
됩니다.
will be possible in this era.
21세기 밀레니엄의 시작과 함께 한국 무대예술계
I
전반에
think
하도로
it
잡았던
was
것이
an
이제 동목성
accident.
논란인데요.
that made me
본격적으로
think a lot
이러한
in line
시기와
with the
이
time
사고는
when the
맞물려
debate
있습니다.
on the public nature of
특히
art,
공공성을
which
담보하는
had become a big topic in
공공미술을
the Korean
둘러싼
culture and
반성의
art
목소리와
at the beginning of
진정한 공공성의 의미
the
탐색을 위한
21st century. In
다양한
particular, this
실험들이
accident
이 시기에
was
비롯되었기에
an unforgettable
이 사고는
experience
잊을 수 없는
because
경험입니다.
various experiments
제가
to
이
explore the meaning
코로나
of
백신
true
후유증으로
publicness and
많이
voices
떨리는
of
병이 생겼습니다.
reflection
원래는 잘
surrounding the
안
public
떴는데요.
art, which requires publicness,
우리가
was
일반적으로
initiated
사용하는
during this
공공성이란
period. Because of
세
the
가지
I contract the COVID-19, so I think my voice is a bit
세
trembling.
가지
Your
개념으로
understanding will be appreciated.
볼 수 있겠는데요. 하나는 이제 국가 법이나
The
정책과 같은
publicness
것을
we
통해
generally use
국민을
can be
상대로 하는
divided into
공교육이나
three
공적
major
투자,
categories. First,
이런
it means
의미의
official
공적인
activities
것,
such as
이런
public
것들을
education,
한번 볼
public
수가
investment,
있겠고요.
and public
다른 하나는
projects
공동의
that the
이익이나
state
재산,
conducts
규범,
for the
질서와
people through
같은
laws and
특정의 사람이
policies.
아닌 모든 사람들과 관여되어 있는 공통적인 것.
And in the second sense, publicness means
하나는 이제
common
공원같이
interests, property
공공의 장소를
norms, or
의미하는
order that are
공적
related to
공간이
everyone,
있겠습니다.
not a
그래서
specific
이 세 가지
person. Third,
분류를 합치게
like a
되면
park
우리가
or public space
공공성이라고
each
하는
being
언어를
open to anyone.
사용할
We
수
can
있는 것
interpret
같습니다.
publicness as the
이러한
meaning of
공공성
being
의미를 개념으로
open.
한 국내의 다양한 공공미술 프로젝트는
Based on the concept of
광역문화재단,
publicness, various
기초문화재단,
public art
그리고
projects in Korea
우리가
are being carried
민간
out,
단체를
centering
중심으로
on the
공동체, 특히
community,
지역 공동체의
especially the local
협업을
community,
중심으로
by the
진행되고
state
있습니다.
and regional cultural
마을이나
foundation,
이웃,
basic cultural
동네라고
foundation,
하는
and small
단어가
private
지역의 이름을
organizations.
표방한 이름과 같이
We see examples of large
공공미술
and
프로젝트가 특정
small
지역과
public
장소를
art
중심으로
projects that represent the
진행되고 있는
words like
사례를
village,
보게 됩니다.
neighborhood, and
어떻게
name of
보면
specific regions
공공미술이
and places.
지역사회에
In a
결합하기
way,
시작한 것은
public art began to be
1995년
combined
6월
with the local community and
지방선거가
with the
시작되면서 본격적으로
local
지방자치 시대가
elections
열렸다고
held on
생각이
June
됩니다.
27th of
이러한 지방자치 제도를
1995.
통해
We
정치,
saw
경제,
the
사회
beginning of
전반에
the era of
지역의
local
가치와
autonomy in
정체성에 관한
earnest.
내용이
Through
중심
this
과제를
local
떠오르면서
autonomy system,
각 지역의
the content of
지역에서는
regional
지역과 관련한
values and
담론들이
identity has
활발히
emerged
나오게
as
됩니다.
a central task in
이처럼
politics, economy,
2000년대에는
and society as a
아카이브라든지
whole.
레지던시,
As such, you may
대학문화,
remember
공공미술,
the
커뮤니티 아트 등
2000s as a
공공성과
time
관련된
when issues
다양한
related to
프로젝트들이
publicness such as alternative spaces in
등장하게
public
되는
art
시점이라고
and community
생각합니다.
art were
인천
prevalent
또한
in the art world.
이런 지역 담론과 관련한 다양한 공공적 프로젝트들이 산발적이고
In
집중적으로
Incheon, various
전개되었고
public projects
진일보한
related to
예술지도와
regional discourse
정체성을
were
지닌
developed
지역 안에
sporadically
잎들이
and
내리게
intensively,
되는데요.
and
그런
advanced
이슈 중에
art
하나가
systems
아마도
and identities took root in the
2004년도에
region. One of these issues would be
지역문화진흥법과 여타의
the
관련
Incheon
법령에 의해서
Cultural
설립된
Foundation,
인천문화재단의
which was
등장이라고
established in
말하고 싶습니다.
2004 according to the Regional
이런 의미로서
Cultural Promotion
1990년대
Act.
중반 이후부터 설립되기 시작한 한국의 지역문화재단은
So,
지역문화의 최일선 현장에서 활동하고 있는 공공문화정책 기관으로서 각 지역문화
Korea's
현장에서 활동하는 예술인과
Regional Foundation is considered to be at the center of promotion of culture and art as an important actor in the local cultural policy governance
인천
system.
문화재단 또한 인천 지역의
So IFAC
문화 현장과 소통하고 협력
also
관계를
tried its
형성하며
best to
지역
communicate
특성에
with
적합한
the
시의성
local
높은
artists
문화
and to
정책을
come up
개발하고
with timely
추진하고 있는
policies.
것으로 보게 됩니다. 인천 문화재단의 역할은 그 어느 때보다 중요한
So
것이라
that is why the roles and
생각됩니다.
responsibilities of the
아울러 전
IPAC are
세계의
recognized as
다양한
more
이슈와
important
예술
than
현장의
ever.
사례를 접하게 된
In
오늘
addition,
같은
I believe that today's symposium,
인천
where you will
문화재단이
encounter various issues
지역에
and
대한
examples of art around the
배려와
world,
애정이
was prepared
얼마나
with deep
큰지를 이제
affection
보여주게
for the
됩니다.
art and culture of Incheon.
따라서 이번 심포지엄을 통해 인천이
I hope
세계
that
예술
Incheon
현장에서 다시 중심으로
will become a starting
시작이
point
되는 기점이 되길
to play a
바라면서
central role
서두에 인사를
in the global
대신
art through this
감사합니다.
symposium.
이제 앞으로 제가 이제 두 가지 사례를 이제 말씀드리고자
Today,
합니다.
I'm going to
하나는
speak of the
제가
two
진행했던 프로젝트 한 네 가지 정도의
First,
짤막한
on the
개요
projects
정도를
I have
말씀드리려고
practiced,
하고
four
마지막에는
major
인천
projects,
예술을 위한 질문
and then
주제를
I'd
내주신
like to
내용에
share
대해서
my
이제
thoughts
말씀을
on the
드리고자
topic
합니다.
of this symposium, the questions for the art in Incheon.
하나는 이제 아름다운 교원 만들기인데요.
And one of the projects is titled
여기 이제 외국
Making School
발표하시는
Beautiful
분들이
School
오셔서
Gates.
뭐 이런 내용을 좀 준비하긴 했습니다만 한국 사회에서의 학벌은 인생의
Well,
주원
in
글씨로
Korean society,
말합니다.
academic background
해방과
is
함께
often
재건된
compared to
대학의
the scarlet
역사는
letter of life.
사실은 한국
The
대학은
history of the Korean
평등을
universities,
깨는
which were rebuilt
주원
with
글씨의
the liberation,
발상지라고들 말을
paradoxically
합니다.
says that
김대중
they
정부
are
시절
the
1998년도에
birthplace of
시행된
scarlet letter that causes
일명
a crack
새 학교
inequality
문화
in
창조라고 하는
Korean
교육 정책,
society.
그다음 공교
At the end of
현장들이
the
많이
century,
변하게
during the Kim
됐는데요.
Dae-jung administration,
무시험
a lot of
제도라든지
changes were
야간
taking
자율학습,
place in public
그다음에
education due
기말고사나
to
이런
the
것들이
educational
폐지가 되고
policy.
학생 인권에 대해서 체벌에 대한
So at the
기준도
time,
들어섰던 시점입니다.
okay, we witnessed some changes such as no exam
이해찬
challenge, no
세대를 겪지 않은
no exam
전
college
세대에게
admission,
교문
and
같은 경우는
complete abolition of
감시와
night
처벌의
self-study.
장소였고 완장을 찬 선배들에 의해 가해지던 처벌,
And
흑사,
actually, the
군사
corporal
문화를 그대로
punishment was
이어받았던 걸
prevalent
알고 계실 겁니다.
at school sites.
아침에는 구령대 앞에서 교장
In the
선생님의
morning,
훈시를 들어야 되고
in front
체육
of the
시간이면
구령대,
구령대 밑에 있는
they need to listen
운동기구를 통해서
to
몸을
some
단련했을
speeches
것입니다.
from the dean of the school,
미셸 푸코는 감시와
Michel
처벌,
Foucault,
감옥의
compared the schools
역사에서
to
학교를
prisons based on the history of
교도소라고 지칭을
surveillance and
했습니다.
punishment.
제가 이제 이 지금 보여드릴 경성 제국대학의 교문의
This
이제
is the main gate
모습인데요.
of Gyeongsang
우리나라의 보편적인 교문의 형태는
Imperial
이렇게 세
University.
가지의 기둥이 서 있고
This is
요
kind of
작은
the
기둥
common
사이를 학생들이
structures.
이제 다니게 됩니다. 요거는
We
1m
have these
60이고
three pillars.
여기서 또 요까지는 보통 6m 기준으로
The width is about
통일을
160
규격화된
centimeters.
교문의 형태가 한국의
And
교문입니다.
this is the kind of uniform shapes of the school gates in Korea.
따라서 2005년도에 공식적으로 선언한 아름다운
So
교문
the
만들기
beautiful school
프로젝트는
gate making project
오래된
officially declared in
단서를
2005
대표하는
was a
교문의
project to
동시대의
answer on the
학교란
question,
무엇인가?
what is a school?
라는 물음을
Through the demolition of the
미술로서
school
답하고자
gate,
실행한
representing the
프로젝트였습니다.
old customs in the field of public education.
오늘 보여드릴 이제 사례 중에 하나는
One of the
2010년도에
cases
제가
that
이제
I'm
마지막으로
going to share
인천문화재단과
with you
진행을 했던 교문 만들기 프로젝트인데요.
is the last
요 근처에
project
보면
I collaborated
신흥초등학교라고 있는데
with
지금은 이
the
교문이
IFAC.
제가 만들었던 교문이 없어졌습니다. 근데 없어진 이유에
The
대해서
Incheon
말씀을 안
Elementary
드리겠습니다.
School
너무
now
내막이
the
있어서.
gate
근데
is not
하여튼
there because of certain
2010년도에
reasons.
4개국의
I'm not going to
예술가를
tell you the
초대해서
reason.
한 달 동안 레지던시를 통해서
Through a
학교
month-long
현장에 직접 투입이
residency,
돼서 통역과 함께
we
학교 수업을
worked
하게 하고
with
학교 주민과
some
교사,
interpreters, and
학생들이
then
원하는 교문이
students
무엇일까?
and teachers
라고
were
하는
involved.
커뮤니티 활동을 통해서
Through the community
결과를
activities,
도출하고
we
그래서
drew
이제
up
프로젝트를
some
진행했던
outcomes,
경험인데요.
and then based on the outcomes,
네
we
나라의
implemented the project.
각 나라마다 그 나라에 대한 그 교문에 대해서 이제 설명을 이제 하게 됐습니다. 우리나라 교문과
And then
다른
at
나라
the
교문은
time,
어떤 차이가
we
있을까?
compared
그런데
some
이제
school
일본
gates of
교문의
different
이제
countries.
특징은
First,
주로
the gates in
국립학교 같은
Japan. The main
경우에는
features
꼭
of the
오래된
gates
나무,
in Japan,
꽃나무를 공간에 심는다고
as you
하는
can
기준이
see,
있는
some
것
old
같고요.
trees here.
그다음에 이제 프랑스는 특별히 교문에
In
대한
France,
특이성 없이
there's no special
철저히
features.
그 단절을 시키기
The school
위한
gates,
그런
the school gates are
그런 식의
isolated,
구조로서 학교가
strictly
학교 교문의 역할을
isolated.
하고 있었고 필리핀 또한 필리핀은 좀 다르게
And the
다채로운 그
Philippines,
색이나 토속적인
They
디자인이나
use the
기초적인
colorful
디자인을
colors and
활용을
the
했고
designs.
이런 언어들이 있는데 이런
And you
언어들은
can see some
그
words
시의
over here.
정치가들이나 종교가들의 이름을
The words represent
따서
some
교문을
politicians or
장식하는
the values
그런 사례를
that
볼수
are
있습니다.
chosen by the village.
이 터키도 또한
And Turkey,
한국처럼 외부와 단절을 시키기 위한
it
교문의 형태를 가지고 있는 것을
prioritizes
파악했습니다.
isolation from the outside world.
어,
using the
2009년도인가 이반 일리라고 하는 사람이 쓴
이반
학교 없는
일리.
사회라고 하는 책이 있습니다.
He
아마 교육에
authored
대해서
a
좀 관심
book
있는 분들
titled
아마 이
Society
책들을 많이
Without
보셨을
Schools.
건데
I think if you
이
are
책의
interested in education,
내용에
you
이런
I think I'm sure that you have
이런
read
내용이
the book.
있습니다. 파시즘이든
Inside the book,
민주주의적이든
There is a kind of phrase,
사회주의적이든
whether a country is a fascist, democratic,
부유하든
or
가난하든
socialist,
모든
large or
나라에
small,
있어
rich or
학교는
poor, in
기본적으로
every
닮은 곳으로
country,
되어
the
있다.
school basically
이런
becomes
사실이
something of a
명백해지면 우리들은
resemblance.
신화집의 내용이
When this becomes
굉장히
clear, we
다양함에도
must admit that
불구하고
despite
신화의
the
생산
great
양식 및
diversity
신화에
of
대한
the contents
신화에 의한
of
사회 통제의
anthologies
방법은
anthologies
전
of myth,
세계적으로
the modes
동일하다는
of
것을
production of
인정할 수
myth and the methods
수밖에
of
없다.
social
이런
control
뜻입니다.
by them are
이반
the same on
일리히가
a global
썼던 이
scale.
단락이 제가 교문 만들기를 해보면서 최종적으로 얻었던 결론과 같습니다.
And I think this
다른
surprise
나라의
is in
여타의
line
교문도
with
우리나라
my
실정과 동일하게
outcome.
동일한 것으로 인정할
I
수밖에
mean,
없는
I
그런
learned
형태를
during
가지고
the
있다.
project.
그래서 이 왔던 다른 나라의 여타의 그 작가들이 본인 나라에서도 교문 만들기 프로젝트를
So,
진행하고 싶다라는 이제 얘기를 전해드렸는데요.
I also know that
이런 기회를
some
통해서
artists in
한국에
other
있는
countries they want to also implement
공공제도,
this kind of
예술
similar
제도가
projects
외국으로
using
또 수출되기도
school
하고
kids.
외국에 있는 좋은 사례가 한국에 다시 이식이 되기도 하는
Of course, we
이런
learn
기획에
the good
대한
cases
교육도
from other countries,
필요하지 않나
and
이런
such kind of
생각을 좀
international
했던
exchanges
기억입니다.
will be needed. I'm sure about that.
제가 2010년도에
In
제가 이제 본의
2010,
아니게 요 인근에 유네스코 에이포트라고 하는 유네스코 기구와 함께
UNESCO
비영리
A4.
전시 공간을 4, 5년 정도
It is a
운영을
small
했던
non-profit
경험이
space,
있습니다.
and I have
그래서
run
이제
the
그걸
space.
만들면서
I run the
비영리
space
전시
for about
공간
5 years.
국제교류 네트워크라고 하는 이거를 처음으로 이제 준비를 해서
So we
2012년도에
organized the non-profit
방글라데시,
exhibition
대만,
space international exchange
싱가포르,
network and
중국,
invited the directors of
홍콩,
important regional spaces
다섯
in
나라의
Singapore, Hong Kong,
공간을
Taiwan,
재생
China,
공간을
and
활용한
Bangladesh.
예술 공간으로 전향을 해서 운영을 하고 있는 그 나라의 가장 대표적인
They were the
디렉터
representative
다섯 분을
directors
초대를 해서
in the
6박
sector
7일
of
동안 세 번의
regeneration of
컨퍼런스를 가진 적이
spaces,
있습니다.
and then we
그
held 3
컨퍼런스를
conferences for 7
한
days.
번은 지금 이제 제물포 시장이라고 하는 곳인데 아마 여러분들 영화
And
써니에서
Cheolmokpo market, I think
일곱 칠공주가 이제 패싸움을 하는 그런
you
장면이
saw the
나오는
market sites
곳인데
in the film
그
Korean film
제물포
Curated
시장의 형태가
Sun.
이렇습니다.
Okay, please refer to the slide.
페어인데요. 근데 여기에 이제 재개발이
Almost a
멈춰서
wind area.
일부는 사람들이
Redevelopment
살고
projects
있고
has just
이제
stopped,
일부는
and
다 이제 보상을
in
받고
some
나간
areas there are
상태였는데
some
이
residential, and
상태에
in some
사람들이
areas
살고 있는
are
것을 제가
left empty.
2009년도에 목격을 하게 돼서
So in
이 광경을
2009,
보는 순간
I
저한테 이제
came to know
들어왔던
of
인식은
the
당시
area.
2009년도만 해도 지금과 같이 아트 페어 미술 시장이 아주 활성화되던 시점이었습니다.
So in
그래서
2009,
이
in 2009,
풍경을 보는 순간
art
저는 아트
fair,
페어보다는
art
아트
week.
페어라고 하는 의미가
Art fair was quite
떠올랐고
prevalent in Korea. However,
그래서 시장의 기능이
when
멈춰져 있는
I
이
saw the
공간에
place, the
이
Cheolmokpo
페어가
market,
돼 있는
the
공간에
wind area, I
시장의
thought that
기능을
this is
대신할
not a
수
kind of
있는
art fair. It
예술적
should be
개입이
called the
들어가서
art week.
다양한 페어 속에서 페어를 다시 하고
Out of
싶다라는
wins,
개념으로
we wanted
커뮤니티
to
페어,
make a
아트
fair,
페어를
art fair,
이제
community
준비를
fair.
하게 됩니다. 이 내용이 그 당시에 했었던 프로그램입니다.
This is a
한
program
50명이 넘는 작가를
that was
초대해서
used to, at the time,
상상할
we
수 있는
invited more
모든
than 50
커뮤니티
artists,
관련돼 있는 프로젝트를 이 공간에 이제 대입을
and then
해보게
we
됐습니다.
tried to insert
그래서
our
나중에는 이
imagination
공간이
into the space.
홍익대학교 건축과에는 민현준 교수께서 이 김우사
Professor
국립현대미술관
민현준
건축 설계하신
of
분인데
the
이분에게
of
이 공간에 대한
professor at
재생 가능성에 대해서
University.
의견을 달라고 이제 말씀을 드렸더니 충분히
He
매력적인
advised this
공간으로
project, and
할수
he mentioned
있겠다.
that
특히 이제
the
다원
space
예술을 하는
can be
작가들한테는
converted
너무
into very
매력적인 공간으로
attractive
할 수
space
있다.
for
그래서 당시
artists.
미추홀 구청장이셨던 박우서 청장님께서
So,
대단히
Ms.
애정을
Park
갖고
Won-soon,
이
the
공간이
head of
재생
Michu-ho
공간으로서
district,
미술관의 역할을 할 수 있는
he also
애정을
loved the
갖고 추진을
project.
하셨는데 제가 이제 중간에 이제 프로젝트를 스톱하게 됐습니다.
But
이제 그거
in the
이
middle of the
프로젝트가 경과한
project
지 10년이 딱 되는
implementation, I
지점인데요.
stopped joining.
제가 왜
Anyway,
이 프로젝트를 계속 하지 말았어야 되는지를
it's been almost
처음으로
10 years.
말씀을 드리겠습니다.
Okay, I'm going to tell you the why I suddenly stopped the project. I mean the involvement of my
보통
project.
예술가들 하면은 어떤 자기
When
정말
we talk about
신념을
artists,
다 바쳐서 특히 예술가들이 많이
artists devote
이제
their almost
보내지는 곳이
life, their
재생
efforts and
공간이라든지
space
낙후된 곳이라든지 이런
into
것들이
their artwork.
예술가들이 그 참 매력을 많이
And
느끼는데요.
artists love some
사실은 그런
wind spaces
공간에
or abandoned
예술가들이
areas.
들어가서 활동을 하기 이전에
But before
각
working
구청에서는
in those areas,
환경
before
검사를 하게 돼
getting
있습니다.
into the
10가지
space,
발암 물질에 대한
the
조사를 하게
district office,
되는데
they should
이러한
conduct kind of
건물들에서
environmental
발암 물질이
evaluation
배출이 되고 있다는 얘기를 제가 들었습니다.
to detect
그래서
kind
그
of
더
the
이상의
hazardous materials.
진행이 됐을 때 어떤
But at the
효과가
time,
될
out of the
것인가라고 해서
evaluation,
제가 계속 이
okay,
문제에 대해서
some hazardous
무책임하게
materials were
프로젝트를
detected. So
중단하고
we had to
나오긴
stop the
했지만
project
10년
because of the
10년
environmental
지난
issue,
부분이라서
because of the
제가 이
health
말씀을
issue.
드립니다. 그래서 예술이라고 하는 예술가들은 정말 자기의 그 예술적 신념을 통해서
Yes,
정말
artists
목숨
were passionate.
그러니까 어떤 이러한 환경에서도 예술가의 폐가
They risked themselves
공기 종아기처럼
to
그렇게
work
망가지는지도 모르면서도
in such a risky
예술 신념을
area.
통해서 이제 들어가는데 사실은 그 이전에 사회에서 관이나 이제 구청 같은 곳에서 이러한 정밀한 환경
But I
진단에
think
대한
that the
내용도
district
발표를 하게
officer
되고
or some
그래서
officials, public
때로는
officials,
제지를 해야 된다고 저는 이제 보고
they
있습니다. 그래서
should have
이 말씀을
done
좀
this kind of
드립니다.
evaluation before the project. So anyway, because of those issues, the project was stopped.
이것도 홈페이지가 살아 있는데요.
Okay, we still have an active website of
말씀드릴
this project.
언더그라운드인데 이거는
Underground and
언더그라운드는 지하를
underground.
얘기하고
Underground means yes,
언더그라운드는 지상을
underground.
얘기하고
And
있습니다.
underground
인천
means
시청역에
above the ground.
지금
Underground
인천문화재단에서
means below
주관하고
the
있는
ground.
예술 정거장 프로젝트의 첫 기획을
This is
제가
the
이제
first
준비를
project
했는데요.
of Art Station.
여기에서 다양한 이제 실험을
In
좀 하게 됐는데
2018, we
간략히
conducted
말씀드리면
a wide range of
공공의
experiments at the
장소에
time.
예술가의 작품이 공공의 장소에 임대를 나갈 때는
When
자기의
an
작품을
artwork
빌려주는 대가를 어느 정도를 받아야 되는지 같은 경우를
is displayed in the public
실험했던
space,
거고요.
then how much
그다음에
should be
한국
paid to the
사회가
artist? We
이념적으로
conducted an
충돌을 하고
experiment
있고
on that.
그다음에 이제 냉소적이고
Korean
막
society
이런 너무
has
그런
witnessed some
아픔이
conflicts
많았던
of different
2018년이었기
ideologies.
때문에 그런
At the
것들을
time in
좀
2018,
예술로서 좀 치유해보자.
we tried to heal such a conflict, some
이 예술정거장
damage
프로젝트를
out of the
기획을
conflict.
했습니다. 그래서 당시에 한국에서 제일 인기가 많았던 작가가 미국의 페릭스 곤잘레스 토레스인데
Paris
그
Gonzalez
작가를
Torres, the
미국에 있는
US
재단에 한달
American
동안
artist who
부탁을
was
해서
very
그
popular
작품을
in
받아서
Korea.
같이 이제
So
전시했던
we
경험이 있고요.
displayed
이
his
전시회는
artworks
물론
at the time.
여기 한국 현대미술을 주도했던 다양한 김구림, 송능교, 이광서, 이건용이 있을 때
김구림,
그다음에 이종수
성규로,
선생님은 지금 인천문화재단 대표이신
이강소, 이건용, 이승택, 이종구, 육군병, these are the famous Korean artists. They also joined the project.
마지막으로 드린 프로젝트는 아프리카 르네상스
And the last
프로젝트인데요.
project out of the four projects is the African Renaissance
16년도에 제가 이제
Monument.
오픈 콜을 받게 됐는데
In
그게 이제 국제
2016, I
사기로
received
이제
the
밝혀지게
open
돼서
call.
2017년도에
However, it was a fraud.
세네갈 다카르에 있는 다카르 비엔날레에 한국 작가가 진출했으면
And later
좋겠다라고 하는
on,
화두와 그다음에 이런 국제 심포지엄에 대한 내용이 국제 사기로 밝혀졌으니 더 이상 이런 일이 없도록 부탁을 한다라고 하는 말을 또 건네러
I
제가
received some email
2017년도에
messages from
아프리카를 이제
the
가게 됩니다.
organizer
근데
about
그보다
the
더
fraud, and then
저가 아프리카로 가게
they
만든
sent me
것은
an official invitation. So in 2018, I
이거였습니다.
visited Africa.
아프리카 한국에서 이제 인천에서 제일 서쪽 끝에 가면은 나오는 곳이 아프리카 세네갈 다카르인데요.
So
다카르에는
Senegal, Dakar.
북한의 만수대 창작소에서
is
만든 아프리카 레네상스 동상이 있습니다.
There
이
is kind
동상은
of African
아프리카에서 제일
Renaissance
높은
statue.
동상이고
It is the
자유의 여신상이
tallest
46m인데
statue,
이건 52m.
about
높이인데 이
52
똑같이
millimeter
1층, 2층, 3층에
meters tall.
전시장이 있습니다.
And in the
그래서
second floor and the third floor,
제가
there are exhibition
가지고 있던
areas.
생각은 가장 서쪽 아프리카에서
In the
북한이
most,
만들어 놓은 하드웨어
in
아프리카
the west
레네상스
part of
동상에
Africa,
남한의 소프트웨어를 넣어서
if
가장
we can add
서쪽에서부터
some
예술을 통한
software of
평화를
South Korea,
선언하자라고
and then
하는
we
그런
can
욕망이 있어서
utilize the space to declare
추진을
the
이제
necessity
계속
of
했었는데요.
peace.
2020년도에 다시 넘어가서
In
이 레네상스
2020,
동상의 디렉터가
I
만나서
revisited
협의를
Africa
하러 최종 협의를 하러 가야 되는데
to finalize the
마침
project
코로나가
with the director
터지고
of the African
그다음에 또
Renaissance
원숭이
statue.
독감
However,
이런 것들이
it has been
나와서
delayed due to the
지금
circumstances such
멈칫하고
as
있는
COVID-19
상태입니다.
pandemic and the monkeypox.
제가 여기 시간이 좀 부족해서
Oh,
저도
sorry,
좀
because
경황이
of the limited
없는데요.
time.
제가 이제 드린 원고가 이제 2페이지 분량인데 제가 그거를 읽지는 않고 시간상
Okay,
제가
my manuscript is about 2
드리는
pages
그 내용에
long.
대한 설명을 좀 간략히 드리고 마치도록
Okay,
하겠습니다.
I'm going to summarize my message.
만류 인력을 만든 뉴턴이
Newton
사과나무에서 떨어지는 사과를 보면서 만류 인력을 발견했다고 합니다.
Okay,
예를
he
들어서 이런
witnessed
공간에
a falling tree and
나무만
he
하나가
invented
있다라고
the
하면은
universal
그걸
gravitation
우리가 이제
law.
공간 개념으로 봐야 되겠죠. 근데
So,
만약에 시간이 개입이 돼서 사과나무가 떨어지는 것을 뉴턴이 봤다라고 하면은
okay, it is
공간이
about
아니라
the space.
장소 개념이 될
However,
것입니다.
if the
이
time
장소라고
concept,
하는
temporal
것은
concept
끊임없이
is
이제 시간이
included, that is no
관여가
longer
되는
just a simple
것이고
space. It is should be called
인천을
a
바라볼 때는 주로
place.
서울과 인천을 이제 비교해서
When we-
중심과 변두리, 중앙과
We may compare
지역 뭐
Incheon
이런
and
개념으로
Seoul,
늘 얘기를 하고
like
있는데요.
center and peripheral.
인천을 공간 개념으로 보지 않고 장소라고
Incheon should
하는
not be
개념을
considered.
볼 때
We should not be
어떤
viewed as a space,
또 다른
but should be
개념이
viewed as a
보이지
place.
않을까라고 하는
Okay, to
내용이고요.
have a
그런
different
내용
perspective
중에
on this area,
오제가
Incheon.
뒷부분에 있는 내용만 제가 읽겠습니다.
Let me read my manuscript.
마이크 오제는 특정 공간을
마이크
이용하는 사람들
오제.
사이에 생겨나는 공항이나 기차역, 고속도로, 병원,
Airports,
쇼핑몰과 같은
expressways,
장소들을
or
비인간적인
shopping
장소로
malls.
규정하고
He
이들을
mentioned that these
비장소라
are
하였다.
inhumane
비장소는
places and they are
공간과 공간의 이동
non-places.
때문에 형성된 공간이라 할 수 있으며 철도역, 공항, 부두, 지하철 등 이동 중
Airports,
대기와 휴식을 위해
stations,
잠시
or
머무르는 임시
Other
공간이다.
seaports, they are temporary
주로 하는
spaces.
공간과는 달리 관계의
It
부재나
is not a
역사적인 부재,
residential
고유한
place.
정체성의 부재 등
There's no
특정한
history
지역
and there's no
특정을
identity
짓는
for the places.
비장소는 환승의 메타포이다.
That is the
인천은
metaphor of
플랫폼
transit.
도시라고 얘기를
Therefore,
합니다.
those places should be
플랫폼
called
도시라고
transit
하는
rather
이유가
than
제가
places.
여기 지금
Incheon
설명에
is
좀
called
달아놨고요.
a platform
그래서
city.
결국은 우리가
Okay, I added an
박물관에
explanation why it
방불돼
is called
있는 역사는
platform
오래된
city.
시간의 축적인데
The
우리가
museum
지금 이런
has
경험 같은
contains
경우는
a
제
long
표현에
history.
의하면 얇은 정체성입니다.
But
오래된 정체성은 박물관에
my experience, okay, from my
들어가게
experience,
마련이죠.
okay, we have
단수로 들어가게 되는데 우리가 지금 느끼는 것들은 복수의 기억들을 가지고 있는
singular
이런 것을
memory. However, museum has
장소
multiple
개념을 한 단계
memories.
더 가서
So
비장소
beyond the concept of
개념이라고 하는 모습으로 인천을
place,
바라볼 때 인천에
if
너무
we
널려
can
있는
look at
아시안
Incheon
게임
as a
경기장이라든지
non-place perspective,
비어 있는 부두의 항구라든지
there are some empty places
공장이라든지
like
이런
abandoned ports or abandoned
비장소의
factories,
활용성이 너무 많은 것
and
같습니다.
these
그래서
non-places
인천에는
can be
특히 이제
utilized
비엔날레 같은 전시가
for different
필요하다고
purposes. For
많이들
instance,
말씀을
for Biennale.
하시는데 예전에는 예술가들한테 비엔날레가 필요했다면
In the past,
지금은
Biennale
인천
was needed
시민이
for artists.
비엔날레
However,
같은 전시를
now,
누려야 되는
Incheon
시민의
citizens, they
권리이기도 합니다.
deserve this kind
그래서
of
꼭 인천에
cultural event,
있는
Biennale.
예술가들을 위해서 비엔날레가 필요한 거예요. 비엔날레 같은 전시가 필요한 것이 아니라
Not just for artists,
인천의
Incheon
시민을
artists,
위해서라도
but for
비엔날레가
Incheon
필요하다면
citizens.
이런 비상소적인
Biennale is needed,
개념을 통해서
and which
특정
means that
장소에
we can utilize
이런
those
것들을
abandoned
활용한
or empty
그런
spaces,
전시가
the
이루어지면
transit
어떨까
areas or
이런
non-places.
내용이 제가 이제 쓴 내용의 전부입니다.
That is the main message of my presentation.
아까 초입에 김종기 선생님께서 그 세계화
Professor
글로컬리즘을
Kim
얘기를
Jung-gi mentioned
하셨는데 제가 이
globalization
원고에는
and localization.
지역의 정체성을 먼저 위에다 다뤘고
In my
마지막 결론
manuscript, I
부분에
first mentioned
세계의
the identity
지역화라고
of
말씀드렸는데
the
지역의
regions
세계의 지역화라고 하는
and the
것은 제가 드린 이
regionalization of
원고에 있는
the
내용은
global.
우리가 이제 여기 카셀다 이제 카셀 도큐멘타 15의 작가들이신데 카셀이라든지 민스터라든지
Castle Minister,
베니스라든지
or
하는 그
Venice,
도시는 그
these are
나라를
famous
지명하지 않습니다.
cities.
그 도시를 얘기합니다. 그래서 그런 의미로 인천이 대한민국의 인천이 아니라
So, Incheon,
인천이
rather than
인천으로서
Korea,
세계로 나가야
rather than Incheon of
된다라는
Korea,
의미로
Incheon can be famous like other
말씀입니다.
cities.
그리고 마지막으로 이제
If it succeeds
인천에서는
in finding its
더
own
이상
identity,
영웅이라고 하는 것이 필요한가? 그것보다는
and do we
우리가
need a
이제는
kind of a hero for
팀플레이,
Incheon?
축구 경기 같은 그래서
I think
모든
we need a
인천의
team play, like a football game.
사람들이 다 팀플레이 하듯이 합의를
We
봐서
need a team play.
뭔가를 만들어야 될 때가 아닌가.
Based
그런
on the
말씀으로
consensus, we
제
can
마무리를
build something
하겠습니다.
new.
감사합니다.
Thank you very much.
네, 감사합니다. 다양한 사례와
Thank
함께
you very much.
한국의
You also
중심문화와
mentioned a
맞물려
lot of
진행된
the
지역
cases
방문,
and the
그다음에 미술
studies
제도
for the
현장을
regional
가로질러서
activities
흥미로운
as well as
말씀을
the artistic
해주셨습니다.
spaces across the country in
다음은
Korea.
인도네시아
Next, we'd
수라바야에서
like to
오신
invite the
헬미
speaker from
하르디안
Indonesia, Helmi
기획자님이시자 또
Haredian.
와플랩
He is
를
also
만드신
a co-founder of
장관님을
WAFT Lab.
소개해
We'd like to
드리겠습니다.
welcome
박수로
him with a
환영해
big round of
주시고요.
applause.
Good afternoon. First of all, I would to say thank you for having me in this symposium, and thank you for Incheon Art Platform for invite me to the proud moment, and also thank you for coming and join with us in this opportunity. I would like to give you a short brief about our collective and what we do. Let me introduce myself. My name is Helmi Hardian from WAF Lab, Surabaya, Indonesia. This one. This is our base camp. We call it Markase. The meaning of Markase is still base camp also. And this one, okay. Okay, at the first time, our collective was growing in organic ways. We never talk about what is our goal, how we should running the space, and how to manage the collective. Actually, we were just a bunch of people that doing something fun with a different background, different passion and interests. But sometimes in the rare times, we have also activity organized art exhibition, music festival, and sometimes sculpture festival also. And on the 2011, we decided to give our collective with WAF Lab, interdisciplinary initiative. This is our work bench, and almost all members doing do-it-yourself activity. And you can see at the picture has a different activities, sculpting, electronic, music, soldering, and maybe just for sitting, moon gazing, and so on. Salah. Oh yeah. For me, the best thing that we can get for running the collective is Louis. Okay, I'm sorry. For me, the best thing that we can get work as a collective is like a surprise. Like we never know what should we do. We never know the result is. We never know when we should give a final thoughts for the artwork before the artwork is already done. For the example, during Wonder Fruit Festival, they invite us to respond surrounding condition there, and we didn't know yet what we should do beside make an artwork. Okay, I will play you how to. This is an example when we attend for Wonder Fruit Festival in Thailand. So we didn't know what we should do, and we decided to build our shelter first. And during the process, people come and go, asking this, asking that, and help us to build the shelter. Sometimes they come to share the food, share the drink, cigarette. And we also ask to local people there, our friend, to join in this project. And we decide to collect everything surrounding the environment and make from that used material into artwork. We also have a performance there, a workshop also. Yeah. After that, we just realized, oh, can be representative our daily habits. And then we called the shelter with the cocoon playground. And we have like a space to people there to come and sharing everything that they want. Okay. This is another example how we modified the empty space into sharing space. This is a Tadarus, one of our program, workshop program. Tadarus is a part of No Work, National Observation Work. And Tadarus itself has a meaning hastakarya dan berpuasa. In English, crafting and fasting, because we always held the workshop during fasting season for the Muslim. We go somewhere and invite kids over there and join to the workshop making electronic music circuit or another electronic circuit. This, like I mentioned before, this is another or unexpected space. Is a car park, and we modified into sharing space. It's the same thing with the Tadarus. It's not a proper space, but we need to have a space to do something like a workshop or something. But the best thing is the participant can get new things from surrounding space over there. Hey. This one also we occupy the street to build a sharing space on the street, and everybody can join us and have a performance or dancing or singing, karaoke or something else. We keep to spreading out our spirit. And after that, we just thinking about how to make a bigger coverage area, and then we need to agenda for that. We make a T10, another workshop. T10 is teliti lan telaten. Be careful and be patient, more or less like that. And we invite several people from East Java, and we make a workshop about make a new workshop outdoor. It means after they join the workshop, this would be has a workshop. This would be have a workshop in another space, another area, and another time. This project supported by Ministry of Education and Culture Indonesia. We converting the village space nearby our base camp into a workshop space.
Kalian tentu harus bersyukur ya bisa terpilih gitu, punya kesempatan untuk bisa ngadain workshop event ini, karena kan tidak semua orang juga punya kesempatannya.
At this time, we have a workshop about lighting, and people can build the light installation. Then we also has like a case study for that.
Kita sepakat bikin kayak pertunjukan, karena ada satu tempat gitu kayak panggung, tempatnya tuh panggung. Terus kita coba mainin kan, udah dapetnya teknisnya tuh kayak gitu gambarnya. Ini panggungnya ini segede gini ukurannya.
We collaboration with the nightclub in the Surabaya, at the Surabaya, and we asked to make the space to study case for participant of the workshop. Oh, syukur. Yeah, we also have an exhibition in the alley in the village, and a lot of people from surrounding community come and help us to preparing the exhibition. panjang ternyata.
Saya ucapkan banyak terima kasih kepada Kemendikbud.
Okay, that is an example of our activity. And then we go to the main issues. This one. Deconstructing spaces and objects. Actually, we have an idea to deconstructing the spaces because, like I mentioned before, our space is quite small, like this, but a lot of joy inside. That's why we need to make extend space to running the program. I know we talk about the object. I will give you example. The scavenger I think in Southeast Asia or Asia is quite a common activity about the scavenging, right? Because rapid urbanization causes the lack of infrastructure and resources to collect huge amount of waste from citizens. That's why scavenger come and collect the waste from the neighborhood. This is from flea market Surabaya. Is a lot of industrial waste. They sell it. This is also. Nah, this is a map for Pasar Loak in Surabaya. Actually, Surabaya known as industrial living, and of course, it has plenty of industrial waste also. And because a lot of junkyard, people thinking about how to reuse the used material. And then because people use that, people find a way how to sell it. That's why jungbashing is like our new culture already, maybe. It's for example, in Halaman Curated is a motorcycle workshop on the ground floor of our studio. They also usually use a waste material to modify a motorbike. For the example, this one is a lot of junk and they collect it and build for motorbike. Like this. It's developed for our neighbor that has different ability. And this one for another neighbor for obese to make easier to ride the motorbike. And we also make an artwork for motorbike part. Like this. It's exhibit in Tokyo and TTICC. So the process led us to make a mobile lab. It's like an old fan we modified to a mobile laboratory. We can go somewhere and stop by and doing something there and make easy to us to reach the area that has no access. This one. It has also like a feature. We build like a solar panel and also a table attached in the other fan. Like this. Okay, better we show the video to make it more clear what we talk. Oh yeah, we collaboration with Robbie from Scotland. Yeah, we invite him to be artist in resident. I think it's a good time for us. We can stop by in everywhere and doing something there, helping people to make something like this. We build like a stove for people that have chicken business. Okay, this program supported by British Council. Okay. We also have a performance during the trip. We keep hit the road and go somewhere and do something until that bad guy come to us. We need to stop all our activity. Is has no option for that. And suddenly in the world has a new rules, new condition, and new habit. We just sitting in the space, in our space, in the small or space, and doing nothing like internet, online, or something else. It's already has a new obstacle for us, like distance. We can gather around with everybody because all activity mostly need to have a gather activity, right? And we decide to carefully to choose which one that we can keep to running our program. Actually, we have a 4 and we only have a 2 that can adjust for that condition. The first one is WWP, is a WAF Lab workshop program, but we need to super carefully to do that. And the other one is WAF Club, is like sharing knowledge among WAF Lab member. This one, okay. And then during the pandemic, we keep to develop material, workshop material. We also keep the spirit to use material. Like this one is a thermogun from a wood, and this hand sanitizer. Simple measurement tool to make a hand sanitizer. And this is air purifier. But we have an idea during the pandemic. We have a workshop in August 2020. The pandemic is getting hot issues. At that time, we have a workshop for a village nearby our collective. we make a workshop LED in giant kites. At least the minimum size is 2 meter. Is indirectly, people should have a distance between participants. And then we also have a festival. We call it the Skylight Festival. After the workshop, the participants should be flying the kites in the cornfield nearby village, and the audience can have experience from their home. No need to come to the exhibition event. We also built light installation in the cornfield around there, because we make a quiet peak, because people need to sew from far away. No need to come or visit there, but still good, I think. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Nah, like another collective during the pandemic, I think is online something is very popular at the time. It's not popular, it's just one option, but we need to try this. We need to try before we complain about this condition. We should try this online workshop. We have an online workshop called with Boles. It's a bondoleles, kind of junk basing in English. This program also part of CCLL, Creative Communities Learning Lab, from British Council. Nah, this one. We have an online workshop and webinar. And this is a video tutorial also. I need to show you, I think. This is from Toyol Dolanan Nuklir, the artist from Surabaya. He make a workshop about how to make cute insect from industrial waste. This one.
Hai sobat.
This, like that. Oops. Another workshop is from Twist, Uncle Twist, how to make George's jewelry from electronic waste.
Halo teman-teman.
Hello. Okay. And then we back to the presentation. Wait. Oh, sorry. This one. Also, we have also, we need to try to offline activity. We push the limit, and at the time we don't care about the new rules of government or government. We keep have exhibition at the time, but it's not optimal for us. The first one is from Uncle Twist, named Jakat Alit, and then Quantum Fayakun from Toyol Dolan Nuclear. But we're just thinking about how to make collaboration, international collaboration especially. So we should push the limit, and we should find new hybrid ways. And we talk about our friend in Scotland, and we have a collaboration. It's kind of like explore the megalithic sites, and we converting into data and transferring between Indonesia and Scotland. Yeah. Hey. Mana. Oh, this one. We're converting data of the megalithic sites and send to the Scotland. And also our friend Robbie Thompson from Scotlandia get data from site specific there and transferring into Surabaya. And then we converting the data into light performance and audio performance. Like this. This program also supported by British Council actually. The next is oh yeah, our future plan ongoing project. This one. So we have to continue our program, Boles program. It's a junk basing, deconstructing materials, and we start from collecting the stuff, unused stuff or broken stuff from people or donating and so on. And we provide the tools to support the artist or maker to making and process the activity. And we also bring the documentation equipment to have online streaming. So we visit several studios. We visit Basecamp, artist Basecamp, maker, engineer or something, and ask to them to work with us, how to modify, how to repairing or how to make used material into new function or new object. And all the result, it can be sell it again, and then or for the art book and exhibition. We also make a vlog for the activity and sell it the artwork into marketplace in Indonesia. But now the program is still on progress. We already have database some communities around Sumatra, especially West Sumatra. This one. Okay, thank you. For me, that's all.
예, 헬미 선생님 너무 감사합니다. 어떻게 공간을 만들고 함께
Thank you very
사람들과
much
즐거울
for your
것인가에 대한
presentation.
열정이
Here,
코로나
I
기간에도
could
멈추지
feel your
않았던
passion
모습들을
to create
시간을
something fun for
초과하시면서까지
people
발표해
even during the
주셨습니다. 저희가
COVID-19 pandemic
그래서
period.
지금 다시 3시 40분에 시작을 해야 되는데요. 그래서
Now we are going
10분만
to have
쉬고 다시
a 10-minute
시작을
break,
하도록
and then
하겠습니다.
the next
뒤에
session will
다과가
begin
마련되어
at
있으니까
3:40 p.m.
즐거운 시간들 가지시면서 또
Please
멀리서
enjoy
오신
the snack
분들이
prepared,
많아요. 서로
and we have
인사하시면서
distance guests
좋은
from home
시간
and
가지셨으면
abroad.
좋겠습니다.
I hope you can
3시
have
40분에
some
다시 뵙겠습니다.
networking time. Thank you.
네, 이제 주제 발표 세 번째로
So
다음
we are
세션을
going to
시작을
invite the
해보도록
next
하겠습니다.
speaker.
베트남 하노이에서 바버하우스 공간을 운영하고 계신 틴타올린
틴타올린,
기획자이자
he is the
작가님이
running
공간 설계와
Babao
경험으로
Air.
소속감을 창출하고
She's going to make a
공유된 주인의식
presentation on
찾기라는
creating sense
제목으로
of
오늘
belonging
말씀을
and claiming shared
나눠주시겠습니다.
ownership by designing and running spaces.
Hello everyone, I'm Thảo Linh from Hanoi, Vietnam, and maybe before starting, I would like to ask if I can take off my mask. Yeah, it's safe distance from here. Yeah. So I'm Thảo Linh. I'm from Hanoi, Vietnam, and I'm a part of Babao Air Collective. And my presentation today will be creating sense of belonging and claiming the shared ownership by designing and running spaces. Unlike Haomi, he talked about deconstructing the spaces and objects And with us, we talk about creating something, but it's not really about the space, but it's about the sense of belonging in the space. And also with us, we mostly work around the air. The air means also artist in residence as one of our program. And the other thing is the air also about the atmosphere. Our practice mostly about how to create the atmosphere, how to host the people to be inside a space. So this is our logo. This is a teapot and a teacup because mostly our practice surrounding around the dining table and also surrounding around the tea table. And we are a collective with visual artists, curator, producer, filmmaker, and on-factory artists. And our practice, like I said, we hosting running space and we curate and produce the shows. We do not produce a lot of objects. And we focus on the concept of duyên. I don't know if in Korean duyên also means the same idea, but duyên is the destined encounters. We believe that whenever we meet each other, it must be something, it's already destined that we meet each other. So we always keep questioning that it's a luck that we meet each other right now. So why not we think of maybe we can do something together. And that togetherness bring us to a lot of collaborations and of course a lot of not collaboration because like it also go with the right timing. And we also an intimate safe space to different communities, including also the other different ethnicity in the countries, and also with the queer and marginalized communities. People also come to our space to discuss and to also push the conversation further. And we, as an encounter cultural hub, intergeneration, interdisciplinary, and interlocals, we hosting mostly, we have a program called Kitchen Talk. Unlike the talk in the conference room, we are mostly hosting the talk inside the kitchen, where we ask the host to also cook, prepare the food and cook and eat and cleaning together with the participants. And the other thing is the air. We are the micro residents. Mostly a lot of artists in resident program in the world are funded by the government or the city government. But we, firstly, actually, we just want to meet friends. So we think of how to meet more friends and how to exchange more knowledge and how to generate more knowledge. But we have very limited to no resources in terms of financial resources. So what can we do? So we figure out a terminology called micro-residence. And it means that this is a small scale in terms of facilities, small scale in terms of the budget. It's artist-run, independent, grassroots, highly flexible and high level of support to the artist. And we found out that these models can really fit what we are looking for. And I also believe that in this room, there's also the other collective and artist group also have kind of similar models. So if you want to learn more about us, it's here. And for today, I will just talk a bit about the running space. I will not talk about our shows. I will not talk about our exhibitions, but I only talk about the space that we create, and mostly in the domestic setting. So what you just say is our midnight cinema. Our midnight cinema is also one of the intimate space that we created with our collective. Because in our collective we have filmmakers, so it's all from our need. Our filmmakers, they want to see film, what movies, what moving image, videos every day as their practice. And because of that, one day we thought that why don't we open that space to the other people to also join us, to also discuss with us what we see in the image, what we see in the screen. And that's why we decided to open the Midnight Cinema. We didn't limit our Midnight Cinema into only screening the independent film or art house film or experimental film. We also screen music video. We also screen Hollywood film. And the interesting things is we can talk during screening. We can, and on the talk is always about analyze the film, and then we create also a small community of the people who also interested in film, and also filmmaker and film students who want to go with us, and who want to join the program, and who have nowhere to go during midnight because it's in midnight. It's also very long movie screening is from 9 p.m. until 3 a.m. And in between of it, we have a walking session outside to relax the mind before we see the other film. It's quite watching film marathon with the audience, with the participants. So as our observation, we think about the space runners, the space users, and the space. They create that kind of relationship that cannot be separated, and sometimes they play the role of each other. We really want to encourage the space user to be the space runner. And then the space can run itself. And when the space can run itself, we consider this is our success. So from that thing, we also, from that kind of philosophy and from that way of running the space, we be together with Nyasan Collective. We were invited by Lumbung artist Nyasan Collective to Documenta 15 to co-work together to create also a house, a space that we offer free overnight lodging for people to come there to stay for free. And we collect the things. It can be anything. It can be also artwork. It can be also just a thing that we suddenly saw on the street. We also go forage the flowers and the edible vegetables, wild vegetable on wild plants on the street. And the house, except for it's funded by Documenta 15 for the housing, but all the thing, mostly a lot of the thing inside the house are run by the donated objects, and run by donation, not only objects. And this kind of way of running, we ask the participant to our project also face the question, the very aesthetic question about what should they donate to us, what should they bring to us, and what can be shown inside the house. It can be very functional things, but it can be very non-functional. It can be nonsense stuff, and we accept everything, and then we try to sell it. And that's a part of the work. We run it for 90 days. And this is some photos of our kitchen, our house, and our bathroom. We think about how to create the space for people to live together, create the artist in residence, but not about making art, not about doing art, because people already making art and doing art already. So how to make people living together, and it's go to very basic question of living. So we try to negotiate with the living conditions of like our guests, and we also try to negotiate with our own privacy and our own hosting conditions as well. About the designing the space, this is also one of the part of the work, that this house is very exposed to the public through the windows and to the doors. It's a glass doors and glass windows. So we think of, okay, we don't want people to see what we are doing inside, but we also don't want to hide what we are doing inside. So we think of creating a system of hanging clothes and hanging the bed sheets and pillows, pillow cover and blanket cover to also create layers of walls before the audience go to our space. But at the same time, it's very flexible. Some day is no clothes or no fabric is hanging outside, but some days there's a lot. And sometimes it's all white color because of all the bed sheets and blanket are white. But sometimes it is on our clothes and including our underwear. And what is also a joke from one of our friend that, oh, you are doing high art, and I'm helping you to bring all the clothes inside the house. This is high, so that I need to climb on the chair. So I'm dismantling high art. So this is one of the jokes that we get. So about the user, the runner, and the space, we ask a question about the community ownership over the space. And we also think about how to create the community ownership, how to make the community, and especially in this case, this is a user of the space, feeling that they can be a part of the space. They firstly the sense of belonging, and then the claim the ownership, and it becomes the share ownership. So we ask, firstly we ask the question, who is the community? And at this in our practice until this moment, the community is firstly the art community, and secondly the people who visit us at our space. And then how to develop the sense of ownership. So we have, until now, we have 4 ways of developing the sense of ownership. The first thing, we have the accessible keys for people that we want to invite them, and or for people that we don't really choose people, but we think that, of course, we have our own characteristic, and people who come to us and feel comfortable with us, we can also cohabitate together. So it's already a filter because people come to us. And the second is doing house chore. Doing house chores is a way to also create the sense of how to design the space by themselves. And the third thing is the co-programming, and the fourth is community curation. Firstly, about the key. When I would like to talk briefly about the art scene in Hanoi. The art scene in Hanoi, we started have the first generations of contemporary artists in the early 90s. And then we have also different generations of artists. One of the first one of the first alternative space for contemporary art and experimental art in Hanoi is Nyasan Studio. And Nyasan Studio also, they was founded in 1998, and they was closed about 2 times. And they was moved around 4 or 5 times during their stays until now. So they have been facing a lot of difficulties. And firstly about the censorship and also about the difficulties of fundings and limited resources. And not only about Nyasan Collective, also the other art space, also they also facing the same thing. Sometimes the censorship and sometimes the limited resources. That's why they cannot do the proper public communications all the time. Sometimes they do very good public communications, but sometimes just nobody do it. And or the artists need to wear a lot of hats, so the artist cannot do everything at the same time in the perfect condition of all the things. So that's the reason why the young people, or sometimes the audience, they have very hard time to get to know more deeper into the scene. Or if they are interested into some practice, it's hard for them to get to know the artists or the organizers. So I am also very young, and I also faced that the same situation around several, maybe 6-7 years ago. So when I first opened the space, I also want it to be the non-gatekeep space, that people, that especially the young people, they can enter the space, or the other people in the other field, the other disciplinary, they can communicate with the arts easier. And that's why we are the non-gatekeep art space. But funnily, we lost the gate in May this year. So it's just a funny incident. But then we decided to do one of the work is we produce the key. We produce the key, and we give to some friend, or we sell it to some people. And also, if you are in Hanoi and you contact us, we can just let you know where is the key. And you can enter the space, you can use all the facility as is your house. And this is the first thing that even it's hard to find our space, but once you are there and you have the access to all the resources that we have, and this is the first thing to welcome. And this is our key. We have like the set of the key that we give or we sell to people is the 2 keys, 1 key to the gate and 1 key to the kitchen. Because with our space, the kitchen also the first space that you enter after the gate, and the kitchen also the main way that people will meet, the main meeting point that people, if any artist, anyone want to go upstairs or want to go to their bedroom, they need to enter the kitchen. So you need to go through the kitchen, you need to meet people, you need to say hi to people all the time. So this is also one of the our criteria when we choose the space, that the kitchen need to be very accessible and need to be the central point of our space. The second thing is outdoors, and is the we have monthly outdoors with not only our collective and residency artists, but we also post it publicly that anyone who want to go to our space and clean the space and renovate the space together with us, they are welcome to go. So firstly, we also bring out the opportunity for the others, outsiders, to be a part of the community by working with us in a very small task. But secondly, it also creates the sense of belonging when they decided to design what they want it to be. And the design here sometimes is very simple. It can be just maybe don't put a table over there, put a table over here. Maybe don't put the bed here, put the bed there. Maybe want to put some flowers inside the house, want to recreate the garden. It's very simple and it's very small, but actually it's a daily job of so many people, and it's also the care job that we want to invite the other people to know that there's a lot of things behind the scene. There's a lot of things to keep the space, and also there's a lot of things to produce the show. I forgot to say that what bà bầu means. Bà bầu means in Vietnamese language, bà bầu means pregnant woman. So people told us that we always pregnant, but we never give birth. So this is also a mission of us that try to incubate as much as possible in our own limitation, in our own resources. And the other thing is co-programming. We also ask the other people who visit us if they want to do anything with our space, and anything can be very possible. And but not only when we ask. Sometimes we heard some people that only the visitors to our space, they discuss to each other, okay, how to earn money to this space. And they offer us that, okay, I can do workshop, I can produce this, and I can give you to sell it. So people also think that, okay, they want to do something, and this is a place that we want to give the platform for people to create something together and to access the resources. And resources here is not only money. Resources also means the human resources, the equipment, the facilities, the expertise, and the connections. And the last one is money. So how to create the shared resources, and how to circulate it, and how to generate more resources from the community is what we thinking about. But firstly, actually, it's from our need, because we don't have a lot of money, we don't have a lot of resources, so we want to work together, and we want to spread out to the community to also ask people to work with us. This is the first step of it. And then as we grow at some point, more people come, more resources come, and we want to share it to the community. And the community here not only focus in the community in Hanoi, but we also try to work with the other community, especially art community in the other localities. Last year, we have a pilot program called Residency. D means moving, replacement. So this residency, we work with multi-locals, art organization or art collectives or art space, but they are all non-institutional ones. Because they have quite similar vibe with us to do the pilot project. And we also do the open call to select the artists to be in that residency. So and the resources, the fundings that we got from the donors and the funders, we also share everything to very transparent to all of our partners in the other localities. And we also divide the rights and the responsibilities to localities. There is no person who follows the artist from local, from first local to second locals to third locals. Whenever artists go to one local, the locality there, the artist community there will take care of that artist and will work critically with the artist on what is their research and what community or what experts they should meet or what thing they can also give back to the community later after the residency. So it really sharing the resources also geographically when we work with the other parties in the other localities. And also what we have is, of course, we cannot share resources if we don't have resources. So that's the reason why we also keep considering our space is a space for learnings, is a space for us to invite the people that we want to learn from them. So we want to increase our own practice, improve our own practice, improve our own knowledge. At the same time, we also want to provide the space. The space is our resources, and our expertise, our connections is also our resources. One of the program, very big program we did last year was the Queer Month. It's a theme month that we work with the other queer community and queer artists and queer organizations with the Queer Museum and the Queer Forever and the other queer artists. It was in the April last year. And we also work with the other platform with Non-Berlin in Berlin for screening. And we also work with the Hanoi Zine Library for making zines workshop, and also Chinese Cultural Center in San Francisco for a screening as well. So for the theme month, we also try to invite more parties to get involved, to get more resources, knowledge to circulate into our own community. So with the community curation is firstly is the curation by the community, but we try to provide the platform for it. We try to provide what the community needs and what the basic things that they can start from that. So that's what we try to provide first. And we also try to provide, to ask the very simple question on what do you want and what audience you want to be here, or what program you want to do, what things you want to push it further. Because like if it's only one-off program, it's not, it will be waste a lot of energy. So once we think, we can think maybe we can push something further. We can ask more experts from the other disciplinary to discuss on something. In this year, we also have a lot of like just weekly, very weekly and casual talks and screenings about cultural and anthropology in this year. So a lot of the other people in the other field also come to the space from morning until midnight. We just keep screening or keep like moving from the other topic on also reading books and to discuss about one thing. We don't know about if it really lead to anything, and we don't really think about the production of something, but we think about is here, we are here together, so we try to make it fruitful to everyone. So it also come to our residency. We also want to be a part of the process, the practice of the artist more than be with the artists in the showcase time. Because we ask the question to ourselves that there's a lot of exhibition space. We don't have exhibition space, and it's also our decision not to have exhibition space at our space, but a living space and working space. And we ask ourselves that if the artists, when they have exhibition, they are considered artists, what about before having exhibition as an artist? And yes, they are still artists because they're still working, they still keep thinking about things, they still keep developing things and keep failing with things. So we decided to work with with that process of artists. And whenever the artists want to showcase, we will try to connect with the other exhibition space to make it possible for the artists. So this is also a part of what we think about running the program. And because we have the community, we create the community, and the community is the users of it. So whenever the community still need the space, still need the platform, it exists. As I shared before, that we also have some of the other people try to think about how to earn money for our space. So it's also a part of that, like we think that, okay, so it makes sense to some certain people that they want to keep the space. And it also includes not only young generation, some senior artists also regularly go to our space and hang out. And also they also offer us to maybe create some kind of workshop or some course that they can have the it's a win-win situation, that they can have more community of their practice, at the same time that we also can earn money for our space. So everything is collaboratively working together and create the economy together for people to input what they can input into the platform that we created. And we have the code of conduct that everyone who come to the space need to be very respectful to the other people, and everything we can discuss. If we have different opinion, everything we can discuss. So we share the same spirit with wildlife, is a DIY and DIWO, dual spirit, that we do it ourselves and we do it with others. And mostly our fundings is from our own program. Mostly our fundings from our own workshops or from our small shops that we sell some merchandise, some publications, and some collections from our members, and also from the donations of the community. And sometimes it's the funding, because we want to keep the space as free as possible, the program as free as possible. That sometimes the pressure of reporting to some funding agency, sometimes it really take out a lot of creative for the artists. Of course, it's very necessary and it's very important. But we want to make our space and our residency program not to push that pressure to the artists, but to push them to some limit, but at the same time to be with them in their speed is what we trying to do. So this is some of our very daily life, that we have dinner together, we eat together, and sometimes, like from the dinner, from eating, from cooking together, we have a lot of unexpected conversations that can lead to collaborations, that can lead to further research. Yeah, so that what happened, and that's what happening, and that what we still keep trying to do. Yeah. So this is in Castle. And with us, we consider the space, of course, this is not permanent. But and what is permanent? It is just that moment and the energy of the people who is there with us, and that energy we make it like the color block here. That the energy, the spirit of the people, together with the space, we work together with that, like try to harmonize that kind of spirit and the space. And of course, the permanency is very impermanent. So So, but it creates the kind of pattern, and that pattern also can be converted into the energy. And that's how we think about the space. You can, if you have time, you can read more in this text. This text is a bit different with these presentations, and this text is more about our feeling, our thinking about the space, and the presentation is mostly how we run with it. So, yeah. So thank you. Yeah.
네, 그 주인과 손님의 구분이 따로 없는
Thank you very much.
레지던시에 대한
You mentioned about the
재미있는
residency for
사례들을
all
보여주시면서
visitors
또 어떻게
and
운영하고
the
계시는지
owner, and he
또 어떤
showed,
의미를 갖고
she
계시는지
said that
보여주시고
how
계십니다.
she runs the
다음은 네
space.
번째
Thank you very much for your
발표고요.
presentation.
태국 라차부리에서 오신
Next, we want to invite the next speaker
의
from Ban Nuac
뽀필라이
Collaborative Arts and
미말라이
Culture.
선생님께서 사례 연구로서의
The name
공동체
is
호스트 스튜디오
Pon
및
Pelaimi
참여자
Malai.
수행에
The
기반한
theme of the
장기
presentation
프로젝트라는
is Community
제목으로
as Case Study,
말씀을
a long-term
해주시겠습니다.
project based on post-studio and participatory practices.
Hello, everyone. Yeah. So thank you so much to include us in this event. I'm very happy to share our practice to everyone today. I am representative of Banok. Banok Collaborative Arts and Culture was founded in 2011. We situate in Nong Po district, our father's land, 1 hour 40 minutes from Bangkok. It's a modernized village that is divided as a broken chest by the superhighway. Thai Yuan is one of the important ethnic groups in our village, which evacuated 200 years ago from northern part, the area that James C. Scott named Zomia. We are in the region of Dwaravadi civilization, dating from 6th to 11th century along Mekong River. Dwaravadi was a golden age of Hinduism literature such as Ramayana epic. Ban Nok was named after its location. Ban means home or village. Nok means outside. It means the external village, but it also implies being outside the center. Villager, uncivilized people or place. We are artist-run initiative, use our artistic practice and output multidisciplinary art and cultural production. We curate projects biennially, locally, and globally. Banok was co-founded by Ji and Yin, duo artists. Board committees include Lo Shidong Xu Jiawei from Taiwan and Sakrin Kreon, who's based in the same province. At early years, our team consists of community members with different groups of individuals from outside community. In the recent years, with the growth of members, most projects have been running by active members. Divisions of Ban Nor consist of 2 major core programs, off-lab and day-off laboratory, and NPKD or Nongpo Kit D with several divisions. The off-lab is a long-term interdisciplinary art and community as case study program based on post-studio and participatory practice, develop local engaged art in collaboration with community members, such as children, villagers, marginalized group, and with the invited guests, specialists to input and exchange through residency. The other division, NPKD or Nongpo Kiddi, considers children are the main core of community. We organize workshops and activities that bring them to re-access and revisit their community and tell stories through short films, screening in village temple. NPKD aims to cultivate cultural identity, community knowledge, resource and environmental consciousness, encourage self-organized practice for local community to be autonomous. Then NPKD originate NPKD social enterprise as a subdivision. It is a business model to develop cross-discipline methodologies and financial sustainability by creating product made from local resource, such as milk with small-scale farms. Makers are community members, such as senior citizens, newly graduated generations. Income will return to farmers, makers, and common pot. It doesn't keep going. So the above mentioned are existing resource. Oh, okay, sorry. They are existing resources and practice that we deliver to Documenta 15. Okay, yeah. This is the original map of 3 elements that connected to our context and castles. The dairy agriculture, skateboarding culture to connect to the youth culture, the Nang Yai or shadow puppets, one of the cultural heritage in our district, Ramayana epics, and Castle's Brothers Grimm folktale. The project title is Churning Milk, The Rituals of Things. Churning milk based on the social foundation of community, connect with exchange knowledge programs between Nongpo community and Kassel community, such as the dairy farm. Under the differences in geography and environment, they coexist in the same timeline and platform. We launched the Documenta project in our village with NPKD Skate House and the skateboard DIY activity with children that links to skateboard donation drive in Kassel, which will continue beyond Documenta. It went through a collaboration with local Kassel Skate Harley and local skateboarder community shop. Churning milk is a space allows new texts to emerge. The outcome exhibition combines various mediums such as video, music, light and sound, graffiti, dance, play, and other types of performance. It is a space of activation. Basically, after churning the milk, you achieve butter. So audiences are important as the churning dynamic. So the fluorescent light that relate to our local temple spheres light towers function as vital backdrop for the shadow plays. It's a multi-dimensional work that audiences can experience from the 3-channel video on monitors. The dialogue of the story showed on the upper monitor with the sound and speakers. Nang Yai or the shadow puppets lay vertically ready for the audience to pick and improvise with the music. Along with the skaters in the mini ramp that we provided skateboards for free, contributed by Mr. Wilson Skate Harley of Kassel. Other main element is the mini ramp collaborative spray paint by local Kassel mural artists and collaborative taggings. Cow skin carving workshop that everyone can join with provided tools and skins. Series of events in our space with the planned or spontaneously created with collaborators and Lumbung artists. Churning Politics Forum, for example, that explore the politics that influenced by the Ramayana epics, and also the Farm Talk Forum that we organize, and so on. We also challenge the authority of space, negotiate with for Kassel skateboarders to able to use skateboards or any wheel-based equipments to access Documenta Halle as free tickets. So it become an inclusive space for all. So from what we have shown, we can see how human relationships is an important part of the ecosystem. We consider how to support everyone to localize in community, to meet and learn together. So, yeah, that was the network that happened. So here's the one of the collaborative and learning platform, a social humanity-oriented artistic activities through artworks by 22 Thailand-based ASEAN and international artists and researchers with Myanmar laborers living in the community that we invited through open call. Such an important example project that strongly needed participants to localize in community. So the Myanmar couple who joined the project lived in a provided space for a year. It was the first time that they set in an environment with Thai neighbors outside their safe zone or the factory to integrate in Thai society. They exchange and learn with invited artists and researchers to created works together. The 365 days encourage dialogue and collaborations, respect the diversity as a result. When the pandemic hit in 2020, a platform for young art and cultural practitioners launched a grant for the art project was initiated and received a grant. With artist-run initiative background, we managed the production within our small team, work closely with granted artists and villagers with limit coordinators. Most of the process went through in-house management, which made things flexible and shortcut. The granted artists exchanged and received advice from the invited Taiwanese artists through online knowledge and experience exchange program. It challenged artists from both sides to seek the structure of understanding through visual looking and communication tools in both audio and video forms, connect to the everyday life's empirical knowledge space and virtual space. So Banok Rose in Longtruk is a facilitator, coordinator, and we also moderate. We record, observe, and analyze the outcome. In the same period, under the pandemic situation, we contributed to the community to mediate by mediating a donation of necessary needs activity for community, organizing through an art exhibition with an intern of 2020 internship program. This reveals how an artist is also a human being residing and being as part of a community, and how we can support the community with our art practice. So this is another project that we collaborate with another collective through online platform that happened under the Jakarta Biennale. So our motto is Banok is future, is now. As we grounded in the community, we are aware that we are not just artists, art mediators or instigators of the community-based art, because the works or activities that we create function in communities' real lives. We are part of the local participants, life-changing, and we keep on learning and observing the impact on them. The person on the right hand, he was a boy on the left image. But then, however, to challenge and expand practices, we need to decentralize knowledge and structure, which needs strong cultural network. Thanks to Ronglupa to create and pushing forward the networking in Documenta, and the resource and knowledge sharing system is what we need to develop. Forming knowledge commons to improvise and practice. One image has lost, sorry. Yeah. So to improvise, to practice together and keep the development sustainable. So we consider that how the individuals and knowledge can be encountered and emerge as lines of becoming. I can see how the past presentation have been showing that everyone are creating this space of becoming, and also a lot of activities to create these lines of becoming. Yeah. So thank you very much.
네, 감사합니다.
Thank you very much for your presentation, not only just for the artists, but as a mediator among the different communities. You have shared very interesting case as well as studies, and in overseas and in your regions especially, you have touched upon very well how to promote the communities on behalf of the Banua Collective Arts and Culture. We'd like to invite the next speaker, the fifth presenters, Hiroyuki Hattori. The theme of the presentation will be weaving and meshworking the locally oriented project and international communications.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for inviting me to this symposium. Actually, I had several difficulties to traveling to Korea, but because of very flexible and attitude of Incheon Art Platform team, I can come here. So I really would like to say thank you, especially for Ms. Yong Lee and curator John Lim. Then let me start my presentation. Not this one. Okay. Please let me introduce myself first. I studied architecture, and then I worked at the art institutions and engaged for artist in residency almost 10 years. And then I shifted to independent curator. And from 2017, I have been teaching at an art school, Akita University of Art. And so for 5 years, I'm teaching in the school. Okay. Just I want to share where I'm based. I have been teaching at the Tokyo University of Arts since last year, but I didn't live in Tokyo. I based in Nagoya, Aichi, and Akita. So Nagoya is 300 kilometers far from Tokyo, and Akita is also 600 kilometers far from Tokyo. So both cities are very far from the center. Okay, so this time I would like to introduce you my two projects. The first one is I realized in Akita City. In 2021, a new public institution called the Akita City Cultural Creation Center opened. This building was built in 1967 as the Prefecture Museum of Art, but as the building had aged, a new Prefecture Museum designed by Tadao Ando was established nearby in 2012. Then, 9 years later, the building was renovated as a new institution at the Akita City Cultural Creation Center. Rather than being a place to display and appreciate artworks, the center aims to be a place for local public to create and express themselves. Okay. When this building was an art museum, a huge painting by Tsuguharu Fujita called Event of Akita was displayed. It has been moved to a new museum since 2012. The picture of right side upper photo is the wall removed of the work, and the right side down, it was a photo of after renovation. Okay. So let me introduce my project. This is a cultivating successive wisdom, which was created in collaboration with people living in Akita to commemorate the opening of the Akita City Cultural Creation Center. And I was in charge of directing and starting with the conception in 2019. It's before the pandemic. It was based on the premise of local research and the participation of local people, and was deeply committed to the region. The exhibition consists of two phases. The first is an open studio period called creation. The audience can see and join the process of creating. The latter period was the presentation. It was realized more as an exhibition style. Okay. Under the theme of creating a commons bazaar where life and expression intersect, the project has developed a mixture of 5 fields: cuisines, crafts, life and industry, modern and contemporary arts, and performing arts. Basically, the goal was to learn from the cultural soil of the area, cultivating it further and connect it to the future. Instead of inviting artists from afar, the goal was to create activities that would take root in this area, centered on people living in Akita. We had planned this even before the pandemic. Okay. For this project, I asked experts living in Akita who were well-versed in their respective fields to curate. So for 5 fields, there are each curator appointed. Okay. So in the life and industry category, Kenichi, an artist who makes cartoon-like drawing and sculpture, curated and launched the Akita 400-year Research Center, and he was acting as the director of the center, has been here every day, not only for research and production, but also for meticulous dialogue with visitors. It gave us a place to learn about the past to depict the future. In the cuisine category, we solicited recipes from people living in Akita that could be passed on to their homes, and we collect them. We discovered a new set of local dishes in which the wisdom and experience of the people of Akita were aggregated, rather than the so-called local dishes consumed by tourists. And in the crafts category, we focus on 4 traditional wooden crafts that have been handed down in Akita. The idea behind this is to solve the problem of the decline of local traditional crafts and the disappearance of successive young craftsmen in a time when tableware and tools are available at low price at the 100 yen shops. So in this category, we do a kind of challenge. In addition, traditional crafts that were no longer in use at home were widely collected and donated, and they were displayed and exhibited here, like these photos. On the last day of the exhibition, we held the audition for the future users to find the next user of the craft. The auditions were held in such a way that those who wanted to obtain the displayed craft would nominate. And if competing, they would make speeches about why they wanted them and how they wanted to use them, and the judges would decide who should be the next owner. Finally, almost all the crafts were passed to new person. So this is the right side is the kind of speeches. In modern contemporary art, there are many projects going on at the same time. And in Akita, where agriculture is a major industry, so there are works that are close to the lives of farmers and poor people. Works closely related to farming life or handicrafts using textile or embroidery are introduced. And also we do lots of participatory art projects. Yeah, for example, the Coco Laboratory Archive Project is an archive project that introduces all the activities of an art space called Co-Laboratory that has been running in Akita City since 2005. It is not a professional archive made by the archivists, but a community archive conducted by citizens. The Co-Laboratory is an autonomous art space that does not rely on public funds and has been used by many citizens for various activities such as exhibitions and events. The importance of the activities of this art space, which is essential to the local community, should be once again well recognized, and the archive should be open for coming generation. So this is during exhibition we do archiving. We also do making new theatrical pieces. Performers are invited from the public through the workshop for almost half a year, and then finally they do performance. In this project, instead of focusing on a single genre or subject, we explore intersectional commons in which various genre expressions intermingle in real space. For this reason, I worked with an architecture firm to create ultra public space where a variety of people gather to create expressions deeply connected to everyday lives and living areas. This building was once an art museum where a huge painting was displayed. And I just want to share with you the left side photo is the original museum, and this work was painted 1937, and after renovation, this work was moved to another museum, and on the same wall, we put the same size mirror to reflect present days people's lives in Akita. So this project, we take importance rather than an exhibition with a narrative lead by the curator according to the theme or concept. We try to weave the spaces in which different contexts of the places are mixed. There are exhibits, production studios, practice areas for performances, and rest spots. Playground equipment for children, so to be unnecessary to the exhibition, was also installed in the space. As shown in this photo, children enjoy, sometimes even adults enjoy the exhibition playing on the swinging in close proximity to the artworks on display. In addition, we installed a stage that was easily dismantled and moved using wooden boxes and artificial turf. Sometimes this becomes a theater setting. Other times it transforms into a slightly larger living room-like setting for relaxation, or sometimes used as a meeting table and also stage for talks. We set up a giant catwalk in the center of the large space, and below exhibition and rest areas are mixed. In this space, art materials and documents were exhibited, and also the traditional crafts donated by local people were displayed. Also, we spread for outside by naming various existing places and creating small sets. We aimed to make open places for people to make positive use of. I just introduced some references. We learned about the history of ultra public spaces, such as Heterotopia by Michel Foucault, and also asylum discovered through the concept of cutting the tie by Yoshihiko Amino that allows us to escape from the difficulties lies in our everyday lives. And also we inspired by the attitude of as much as possible and do not oppose as much as possible that Jill Clement cherishes in gardening. We try to create a common sphere to survive. Okay. Let me introduce next project. This is a Jalan Jalan di Asia, an online project organized and supervised by the Japan Foundation Asia Center, which I was one of the planning members. The project was planned in the summer of 2020 and launched in March 2021. I was involved in the program plan and also participated in making contents. The purpose of the project was basically to promote exchanges between Japan and Southeast Asia, which is the mission of the Japan Foundation Asia Center. They call Asia Center, but really only focus on Southeast Asia. It's very political reason anyway, and to create opportunities for Japanese audience to become familiar with Southeast Asian art. I want to share the credit. This is the credit of people involved in this project. I think this credit of participants really shows how many people are involved in these projects from different fields and internationally. For me, it's interesting just to see the list of participants, some of whom I knew well, and some of whom I've never met, but know just by name. It was a good opportunity to feel some kind of connection, even though we can't meet. So maybe I would like to show the website and introduce you what is this project. There are so many keywords, and lots of participants give the keywords and make some project. Just let me introduce some of my project. In a station where cross-border travel is no longer possible, I want to once again listen the voice of people in distant lands and share the current situation with them. So I interviewed curators who live in different locations in Asia. For example, I interviewed several institutions like Fukuoka Asian Art Museum, Singapore Art Museum, and the National Gallery Singapore, and also Queensland Art Gallery. But to show you, I have to find the keyword. It's difficult to find. More than 100 keywords, so not easy to. This one, Queensland. Yeah, for example, I did interview to Ruben Kihan from Queensland Art Gallery. It's long interview, so you can see later. Or well, and also, for example, collective. Difficult. I think it's interview to Adi Dharmawan, member of Ruan Looper. I did this interview for different project in 2020, but asked him to upload on this website. It's interviews are in different formats. Sometimes I do video interview, and sometimes I do more text-based. So this is first this interview I did for a book, so it was translated to English. Maybe this. Before, I think this interview was before pandemic and also before Documenta. So so many. Okay. Oh, sorry, not easy to conduct. But so many different people do different things. Some people making realized online concert for this program, and some people do just introducing books, and some people do just writing long essays. This one. Also, I do interview about 1990s collaborative project in Southeast Asia and Japan. Wow. But through the interview, for me it's interesting. I found some interesting points. For example, for the interview to the museum curators, everybody told me almost same things. Like they want to see their own local art scene again, and also they say they want to make archive or research materials to open more people, and also they say horizontal network is very important. I really agree for everything, but if in this pandemic situation, everybody say almost similar things, so it's kind of a difficult time. Well, I think that, for example, collaborate. Yeah, it's for Curator from Thailand. I asked her about cities on the move and her collaborative project. Anyway, well, so the cultivating successive wisdoms was I think it's a deep dive into a limited set of specific areas, exploring the possibility of direct participation in actual gathering and action during the pandemic. On the other hand, this challenge around the Asia sought to build relationships and share knowledge across countries and regions via the internet. Through this project, I realized anew that it will become more important in the future to acquire a commons that allows hybrid, multi-layered communication and collaboration with communicating between real and internet spaces. That's not conclusion, but what I thought. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you.
예, 감사드립니다.
Thank you very much for your
우리가 팬데믹
presentation.
기간에 했던 이제 활동들에 대한
We have
생각들을
continued
해보면
our
한 축으로는
activities
이제 온라인
even during
활동들을 하고
COVID-19
또
pandemic,
하나는 정말
thanks to
지역에서
the development of
다시
online
어떻게
technologies.
그 소통 방식이나 또 자료를
So
모으고
ways of communication,
또
ways of
무언가를 할
archiving.
것인가를 고민을 했던 것 같습니다.
And I think
그
your project
희물기 핫도리
has
선생님 같은 경우에도
tried to do
지역
something during the
미술관에서
pandemic
일상과
period.
지역을 담으면서도 또
So,
예술과 연결을
to
하는
reflect
좀
the
다양한
local
방식의
culture, and
전시를
you
통해서
tried to
지역을
connect
연구하시고
the art
또 한
with the
축으로는
local community through the exhibitions, right?
일본과
Through
또 다른
the
이제
center.
동남아시아의 다양한 미술 그러니까 문화예술 주체들과 다시 연결되기
And you try to
위한
connect the artists in
흥미로운
Southeast
시도들을
Asia and in
하시고 또
Japan,
아주 생산적인
which was very
결과들을
interesting, and
만들어내신 것
you have
같습니다.
generated productive
네,
outcomes.
그러면 저희가 이제
Thank you very much.
또 한 10분 쉬고
Now we are
좀
going
더
to take
흥미로운
another
또
10-minute
깊은
break
이야기들을
before
토론을 통해서
we
해보도록
have a
하겠습니다.
discussion time
그러면
with all
10분 후에
the speakers.
다시 뵙도록
After 10
하겠습니다.
minutes,
15분 쉬셔도 될 것 같아요.
sorry, 15
5시
minutes
20분에
break.
이 자리에서 다시 뵙도록
At
하겠습니다.
5:20 p.m. we are going to resume the session. Thank you.
늦은 시간까지 함께해 주셔서 감사드립니다.
Thank you very much for bearing your time
제일 재밌는 시간이
for long
남았죠.
hours.
네, 토론,
And now
질의
we are
의견도
having
받고
the most
또,
interesting
질문을
part,
하면서 더
which is
깊은
the general
내용들을
discussion.
나눠보도록 하겠습니다.
So I'd like to utilize the
사실
time.
오늘 우리가
For today's
만나서
international
각각의 사례를
symposium,
이야기했지만
as we also
말하고
listened to a lot of
그랬던
the
것
practices
같습니다.
and
그리고
cases,
지역과
I felt
국제
that
교류,
we had a lot of the
네트워크에 대한 방향 뭐 이런 것들을
similarities
얘기했지만
along with the
지금
network
우리가 어떻게
and the
살고
regional
있는지,
communities.
그거 우리가 이제 미술인들이고
But at the same time, for artists and
관심이 있는 사람들이니까
art
지금
community,
현대 미술의
in terms of the contemporary art,
좀 의미 있는 시간이었던 것
the
같습니다.
presentations were very helpful and valuable for
처음에
us to
우리가
understand about the status.
좀 더 듣고 싶었던 이야기,
There may be
공통적으로
more
나왔던 이야기들을
inquiries or more
질문으로
informations
드리려고
that
하는데요.
the floor would have
오늘 이제 지역에 대한
regarding the
이야기들을
presentations.
했고,
We
교류에
listened to
대한
a lot of the
이야기들을 했습니다.
presentations on
여기서
interactions
이제 그것들에
and
대한
local
의미를
communities
확장하는 것들,
to expand the implications beyond the limits,
중심, 국가 중심이나 어쨌든 중심으로 가는 것이 아니라
not
지역과
only just
지역을
focusing
연결하는
on
어떤
the
협력들,
the
그다음에
pivotal
자신의
forces,
지역에
only
대한
the nations, but also we'd
이런
like to
것들이
induce
아닐까.
more
그리고 여기서는
interest among community levels so that the voluntary, democratic participations and open attitudes will be also required as presentations covered. How to interconnect and how to collaborate together and the community were clearly discussed and presented, not only just for our artists, but also for local residents. That's our mission, how to keep interacting with residents. In terms of the status of the closeness, which was one of the preconditions or prototypes on the art, we also need to go beyond those limitations, flexibility and the voluntarily and more openness and solidarity were welcoming. And writers utilize these general discussions for each speaker to share their more ideas and experiences regarding the topic. For artists in regions or community or residents, to welcome them and to urge them to be invited on more program or activities. Could you also share with us any experiences or any cases that how you also encourage them to take part in? And it would be also very interesting to know that when it comes to visiting other regions or other countries, we have seen that you have also participated in some other countries' projects and programs. So in that regard, how to promote interactions and communications will be also very welcoming and interesting agenda. So could you also share with us any cases or any examples indeed? Thank you very much.
요약을 드리자면 첫 번째는 어떻게 더
In
많은
summary,
사람들이 참여하게
how
할 수
to make
있을까?
more participants into our artwork or activities based on your
다른
experiences
지역과
or
다른 문화,
cases.
이런 것들을
And
연결하는
second part,
프로젝트들을
how to
지역을 중심으로 하셨는데
interact or interconnect with other local residents for our artwork,
가장 신경 쓰시는
along with a very key focus that you have tried upon. So could you also share with us any actual experience or cases that you have done so far? Thank you.
예를 들면 제가
For instance,
린다오 님 같은 경우에는
like we have also listened to the Lin Tao in Vietnam, you also have applied the cases in Vietnam to the castle. So what experiences or impressions have you encountered at the time?
카셀에서
And when you also done the work for the castle,
어떤 연결 지점들을
how did you also feel to interact more throughout your programs and activities? In addition, and also to Hemi from Indonesia, of course you are conducting activities in Surabaya, but probably as a cultural activities and workshops, could you also share with us any key priorities that you focus on each different regions or communities to Ital?
멋있는 공공 프로젝트를 하시는데
As you're one of the very key experts in public work and artwork in Incheon, could you also share with us any recommendations or suggestions for the future? Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you And thank you, Jongeun, for your question. And actually, what we try to our way of designing the participatory experience is we designing the space. We're not really designing the program for the participants to ask them to do something, but we mostly design the platform, and we try to create the comfortable space for the participants, and for them to feel comfortable first, and then we also design the place for the discussion, and we also design the space for feeling private for the participants to express what they want to express, but also they can go to the discussion area. In Castle, actually the space that we work with is not only the house but also the table in front of the house, and the way we place the table, the way we place all the hanging clothes and bedsheets also create a kind of like privacy, and how many people should sit down on the table also create the kind of like the mood for a conversations. For example, with our activities, mostly maximum participants for a group is maximum is 13 people. Because from our experience, if there's more than 13 people, the group will be divided into small group, and we cannot talk the same topic. We cannot discuss the same thing. So we try to keep the group as small group as possible, and the ideal number is around 6 to 7 people on the table. So at that time, people can take care of each other, and can we can have the host to host that. And I think I forgot to add one more thing about the community curation. Is community curation firstly is we ask the community what they want, and we try to give the way to help them to do what they want to do their program. But the other thing is we also try to curate the crowd to go to the program. For example, if we have a talk or we have a discussion, sometimes we have the open call for people to come, or announcement for people to come, but we always try to invite some certain people that we know that they will be very interested, and the conversation will keep going and going. So we also try to build up the interest with some invited guests, and they will be the one who also take the role of the unofficial host for the conversations or for the space at that time. And in Castle, one of the key moments is at that time I was so tired, and then I was sleeping. But then there's some artists coming to the space, and they also want to talk about the project. But I was too tired. I like of sleeping, and I went to sleep. And I asked the other guests who stay in the house, who is the guest, only the guest, that okay, when the artist coming, please wake me up. And she said yes. And after that, I was sleeping and in the kind of like half sleeping, half awakened. And I heard she was the one who already talking to the artist, to the guest, the other guest. to explain about the concept, to explain about the activities, to also discuss about the practice with the other guest artists. So at that moment, I feel like the guest becoming the host, and we try to encourage that. We try to encourage like everyone can take your knowledge, can take your experience to be the host, and there's nothing as the right or wrong. It's just like this is the safe space that you can share it. So I think maybe that's a answer for your question. Is it okay? Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll answer with how to easy way to collaboration with local community, right? Lucky for us, we live is surrounded by humble people, and we don't need like a proper skill to do something. Just bring our stuff at front and break apart and try to repair it. And at the right time, humble people will come and help us. And even sometimes it didn't work, but still okay, because trial and error is most important things. After that, we can recognize the people who's one have like a passion with that. And after that, we can connecting with the people and then make something there. It's easy for us. And when we do somewhere, when we do another city or village or another place, I think the most important is we must start with the good things in fun way, still in fun way, because sometimes good things didn't work. Should be in fun way, I think. And we believe the good things that we share, I don't know, somehow, for some reason, in the future, it would be has a good result also. That's one. And then, what's more? I forget the question. Is it? Test.
뭐 질문 중에 둘 중에 하나만 이제 답을
You can
하셔도
also give the
돼요.
answers
원하시는
either
것을.
of the two questions.
저는
It's up to you.
사실은 이제
Indeed,
선생님이
as you also mentioned before,
수라바야라는
Helmi, in Surabaya,
멀리 떨어진 곳에서 워크숍을 하는 거를 이제 본
as
적이 있습니다.
you have conducted
그분들하고
workshops in the
정말
very
처음
the far and rural
아트를 하시는
areas,
분들에게 처음부터 너무 잘
and I have
가르쳐 주시는
also
걸 보고 결과를
to seen your activities and workshops. I was very surprised to see that even you travel to very rural areas for your workshop, and I was really feeling that you were very delighted, and probably your key and secret weapon was patience, as you mentioned before.
Yeah, I like to share for the experience that we often run our project. Yeah, it used to be very structured in the beginning, but then we learn that to be organic makes things easier, to be more flexible, and also in our case, a small scale team works pretty flexible because we need to face different conditions. There are a lot of unlikely situation can happen. So then we learn to kind of to kind of bring our practice, but then also try to observe what happened during the project. So, and also because we are collective, so we use our multi-area skills and practice among collectives to confront different situations and problems. And as we mentioned in the presentation, that we don't carry one role in operating one project or the work. We also kind of can switch our role and in accordance to the participants in the project, who we work with, who we collaborate with. So, and then we concern about the everyday life. We want to keep on doing both things. I mean, to research and development. That means we learn what we have done. We try to reflect ourselves. And then, so that means we do academically, but also it has to fit in the everyday life. Yeah, so that's the thing that I like to address here. Yeah.
감사합니다. 네.
Thank you very much.
얘기해야 되니까 빨리 먼저.
Let me share my comments.
한국 특히
In Korea, especially in Incheon metropolitan city of Korea, there may be clear limitations, which are the division on the Korean peninsula between the north and the south. In terms of the geographical limits and limitations, that's a reality that Incheon metropolitan city and the Korean peninsula are facing, including the bombing on the Cheonan ship, as well as a lot of the wars between the two Koreas. We have seen a lot of the challenges. When it comes to the marriage life, of course, we can declare the marriage by filling in and submitting the legal document. But when it comes to having the interactions among communities, from 20 years ago, I have felt that I had very strong ambition and dream to form a totally new community for inducing and promoting art. Of course, art cannot change the real politics like war or division and conflict. But what we can change and transform around the world is that we can contribute to peace. In specific, what we can have make actions for peace is that we can definitely change the targets. And actually there is a special paper called and target paper, so that we can distribute the pamphlets or catalogs to really change their ideologies among the global citizens. There may be some of the different spectrums that we can contribute to, but especially the Korea and Incheon metropolitan city, in terms of the ideological perspective, still, definitely we are having very concrete limitations that we have to go beyond.
네, 이제 시간이 다 약속한 시간이 다
And so we
되어서요.
don't have
이제
time left.
오늘 행사를 마치려고
It's
합니다.
time to
오늘
wrap up.
이제 발표
today's
너무
symposium.
수고해 주신 연사님들께 뜨거운 박수와
Please
함께
give a big
한번
round of
마쳐보도록
applause to
하겠습니다.
the all the
감사합니다.
speakers today. Thank you very much.